Pour that water.
Pour that water.
That's not it. There we go.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
That'll do it. Are you good?
Hi, I'm Richard Kind, and you're listening to the CVH podcast.
Oh my
That's what she said.
That's a new one. That's a new one just for you. Okay.
Oh boy.
You want to get right up on that mic.
Okay, I'm right up on that.
But I can already adjust that so that it's higher.
Yeah, because I'm a tall girl. I'm a tall lass. That's probably as high as it'll go.
That's where you want to be. Yeah.
Is this you playing guitar?
Yeah, that's right. My son on drums.
So cute.
I'm sitting with Rachel. I'm going to say this right. Rachel WILLIS SØRENSEN.
Perfect.
You have to say it like that because that's how you say it online when you're introducing yourself. You really lean into the umlaut.
Do I? Well, I'm trying to show people. It lends me a bit of European legitimacy, but no, it's nonsense. It's from my.
It's nonsense.
It's from my ex-husband, and he didn't care.
You're gonna stick with it. You're gonna keep it.
I mean, I have children, so
Yeah.
for the kids, I'd like to. I mean, I have the.
But
children.
you're known that way. I mean, that's how people know you.
Yeah, if I quit now, I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, I got divorced 3 years ago, and I was very ashamed of it. Like,
Come on, really?
Yes, I thought
Why?
It just felt like a big failure, and somehow then having that be really public, I was too embarrassed.
How long were you married?
13 years.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I started real young, too young.
I was a baby. I got married at 22.
Bravo. You kept with it. We couldn't.
You had enough. Was it during COVID? Was it like, that's it? I can't do this.
I mean, I brought this up. This
you don't
is
have
my
to
fault.
go. No, you don't.
I take
Let's
this
tell the people
upon
we had a show
myself.
last night. Let's talk about the shit show that
Let's
was
talk about
last
the
night.
Oh, my giddy aunts and uncles. Okay. I'm still so mad. We can't talk about it.
We could talk about everything.
We can?
Of course we
I mean,
can.
it's not like she's going to listen to it.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there in a second.
Elle
but-
parle anglais, en fait. Does she speak English? Je doute. I doubt it. Okay, well, I'm just going to tell this story. I'm going to tell this story.
Okay, but let's first say that we didn't have our sets last night
Okay,
because of
but
a
do you know the
classic.
story?
Go ahead.
Do you know what happened from their side? Because I actually think it's kind of reasonable.
Go ahead.
So they had Turandot the night before, and that's a big set.
Yeah.
And they would have had to spend the entire night changing to the Hofmann set. This is sort of a problem of the planning.
Poor babies.
I know. It's
What? Oh,
well,
they had to do their job?
Except they
I
weren't.
sing for 4 hours in Hoffman. I'm like, I can't do it
boo.
today.
I don't feel good.
I was throwing up in the wings 2 nights before. Come on.
Well, the problem is not that they would have done it, but they wanted time and a half to do it because it was all night, and the company was like, "Nope, you get normal
Wait,
wages."
isn't there just like a contract that says what you should and shouldn't get? They just decided tonight we want more?
Well, I think they want to have time and a half if they have to work in certain hours of the day. Like if
Okay.
they have to lose a night's sleep or something. But I don't know. I mean, it makes
Like
sense.
the Met, there's 2 crews, right? There's a crew
Day
and there's
crew
an
and a
overnight
night
crew.
crew. Yeah.
And the overnight crew begins the changeover
But
at
Americans
midnight.
are hardworking. You see the difference? You smell the difference? Okay.
No. Believe me, nobody likes
French
to work
people have a
less than the
headache.
French.
They have a headache, okay? Mal de tête. You have to be a little bit more compassionate. No, anyway.
There's always a protest that's going on right over here in Beaumarchais. Like I'm
know
just sitting here and I hear the drums and I hear the fire, the sirens.
Do you
Yeah,
hear the people sing? This is a song of
yeah, but
angry
I
men.
don't even know what they're every day. I'm like, oh, here we go again,
Here
messing
we go.
up traffic.
La grève.
The French invented protesting.
They love it. They love it. It's that's their exerting their right. In a way, though, you got to respect it. It's like a cultural phenomenon of self-respect that we lack. We're like betray oneself at all costs. That for us, the highest cultural.
But when you
priority is what?
when you strike for one day like they did yesterday, who are you hurting? Are you hurting the bosses? Or are you hurting
No,
the
they hurt
workers?
us. I was
they hurt
so-
okay, but they
I
also
was
hurt the
so
audience,
stressed.
right? They hurt 3,400 people
Are
who
you
bought
kidding?
tickets.
No, it's
That's-
true. They did hurt
that's-
the audience, although we compensated for the lack of set.
Absolutely, we
High
did.
five. High friggin' five. Yes.
Okay, sure, but
Except the moment when we were meant to do all our acty bits, which we practiced
Yeah.
at length for a month.
yeah.
And then what's-her-face stood right directly and only immediately in front of
All
us,
right, well,
obscuring the entire...
We have to paint the picture. Hang on.
Oh, la,
so,
la, 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 la.
so we have no sets last night.
No sets.
Because of a strike. Okay, we can get into the strike later, but So we have no set. So we're just going to go out there. We're in the full set. We're in full costume, makeup, and props, but we do not have set pieces.
Yeah.
And so we
Well,
were
but
given
we-
some vague direction on what we were supposed to do. Now we have a singer. I won't name her who is in the scene with Rachel and I, and she decided, and in this scene she's probably the most insignificant, if you will, character in the scene, and she
gosh, I'm
landed
so
dead
mad.
center. She landed dead center.
She also entered about 6.5 minutes too early. So you're supposed to summon her, and then the problem is
She was
literally
just all of a sudden she was there. I was
how
like,
many
wow.
minutes after she entered and I'm staring at her did I have to go ciel and react to her arrival? I'm like, whatever. You know how in every Mozart opera you have to like conveniently miss important
Yeah. Oh no.
details?
You're like, whoops! I
Like,
was looking the
oh,
wrong way.
I have to
Yeah.
make a point of turning my head the opposite direction for that moment. I mean, thanks, audience. Thanks so much for suspending your disbelief. But
She
in
parked.
this context,
She
she was
parked.
she was 1 inch in front of my nose. And
right
all
where
of
we're
our
like you and I were
things.
dead center,
I like
gearing up
that
for our
part.
scene, and then she landed right in front of you
so
and put out
mad.
her big veil and just covered.
And she was
the
like,
action.
I am le centre of this world right now. Gosh. I'm sorry. It's just the funny
You
thing
came
is,
off angry. I hadn't seen you.
I
Right.
was so I'm still
I've seen you
mad.
like super animated, but I never saw you angry, and you were just like, like, did Rachel just say fuck?
No, I didn't. I was so mad. Well, the thing is, it's funny. I didn't realize what do I value? Like, what are we getting out of this? And for me, it's not self-aggrandizement at all.
Okay,
It's the story.
right.
Especially in a context like this where the production is legible. We're telling the story. Even
Right.
okay, we had this pared down version of the set. So in our production there, we're in an orchestra pit and there's a stage behind us. It's kind of really meta.
Yeah.
Because we're in an orchestra pit. Instead of having the full orchestra pit, they had like 6 chairs and
Yeah,
stands.
right. Just like a little version of it.
And they had a little harpsichord, where we do some of
It
the
wasn't the
action.
worst version. You know what I mean?
No, it
Like
was okay.
for no sets, we did okay.
I mean, probably Act 2 was the closest to what is really done, I would imagine.
Yes.
The other ones,
There was
the
a
sets
curtain.
weren't
There was a
built.
curtain missing. That was basically
How
it.
did you do Act 3 without the chairs?
The chorus just sat there. I mean, stood there.
They just stood there. Well, whatever. It's great. It's beautiful music.
We sang
That's
well.
beautiful
You know.
music. We sang well. You always sing so
Oh,
well.
thank you for coming on my show and kissing my ass.
Everyone,
I love
no,
that.
no, but everyone says, everyone is like, well, there's Christian Van Horn over there.
You know what it
just
is? I think
singing
it's a
consistently
surprise.
well.
I think the people that sing my rep are normally so mediocre that when somebody's okay, they're like, damn, he's good.
It's true. It's true. It's unfair. Go back to the shadows.
You know what it
from
is?
whence the
I'm
rest of you
jealous
came.
of sopranos and tenors.
Because
They're
we get disproportionate glory.
well, you get the music, you get the aria, you get the big note. You have
Don't
the
you have
voice
things?
that you have the voice that hits people's nerves. They go, that's unnatural. That sound is so high, it's unnatural. That for both voices.
I hate singing up.
Yeah, but you're so badass at it.
I don't know.
And so
I
a high note,
screamed
my
that
high
C
note
sharp
is
at
like
the
a
end.
baritone's middle register. So it's not that it's
yeah.
not that exciting. And so
I don't know though, because the way you do it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. People, maybe it's okay. I consider that the standard is significantly lower the lower the voice.
yeah, for
The
sure.
vocal beauty.
Oh, for sure.
And that
it's
is
way harder to be
stupid.
you than to be me. It took
Except you work hard, so thank
no,
you
no.
for that.
I absolutely do work
You're
hard,
an
but
example.
but there's 9,000 sopranos for every one bass in school, and I just had to not quit, and I made it. You had to kill and maim and murder.
No,
and
I did
sacrifice.
not.
You absolutely
I did not
did.
know. Luckily, I was born with a weird neck. Like, that's what I say. I mean, I've never said those words like that before, but I was born with a weird neck. Like, it doesn't sound the same as other people's neck. You know what I mean?
That's ridiculous.
And so I worked hard because I was actually, oh my gosh, like this is probably so sick. Like I did an interview a couple days ago with this woman who has like a significant YouTube following, and she talks about singing technique. And we were just talking
Who's
about
that? Ugh.
her name is Freya.
I
something?
get very allergic to experts.
Yeah, me too. Because, well, and we had this discussion about it because I said ultimately you have to just let go of that because we are from this tradition of a teacher telling you you're an idiot. I have
Yeah.
all the knowledge. I'm going to pour it into your empty vessel.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
But that's nonsense.
And if you don't
already
receive it the way
have-
I'm giving it,
It's your
yeah,
fault.
Yeah, it's your fault.
It's your fault. You must be some kind of idiot. That's not acceptable anymore. I mean, people have to find the answers within themselves.
Every time I made a level up, was always by myself in the practice room. It was
Yes.
never standing in front of a teacher. It maybe once or twice it was with a coach who just said something that triggered something. But for me, everything with me was my little recording device and be like, that sounds terrible. That sounds a little better. Lean in that direction. Okay, that sounded good.
That's
Do
what I'm
that
talking
again.
about.
Do
you
that
have
again.
to hone your own taste.
I really think technique
be
is
able to hear it.
personal. Yes, we can use these
Yeah.
words. Everybody has language and words and all these things that kind of
Passaggio.
might work for you, might not work for somebody else. But when it came down to it, every time that I leveled up, I was by myself and tortured.
Yeah.
In the middle of a tortured, like, what am I doing? This is not getting better. Get better. Like, stop trying the same way. It's not working that way. Do it. Try something else. Those were the moments where I thought I leveled up.
Well, you learn so much more from music that you aren't good at immediately.
Oh God, yeah.
But it's funny because I went through this phase where I was like, well, if I'm not immediately good at it, it's probably just not my fault, right? But so then
I mean, that's not unfair when you're young. Yeah.
I wasn't that young. I had done a few.
But you can seemingly sing
donanas.
anything.
I'm so glad you think that.
Yeah.
Like, come here.
Well,
Just let me
that's-
pull the wool a little further.
Yeah, but that's
No, I'm just
that's the
kidding.
perception of you. That
That's
you
so
can basically sing what you
nice.
want.
That's funny. I mean, I kind of can
Yeah.
because I want to so bad.
You're a Mozart Strauss.
But no one has asked me for Mozart in like a long time.
But you're not a Strauss Wagner. You're a Strauss Mozart. Is that fair?
Except now I'm doing almost only Verdi all of a sudden.
Okay, all right.
And
Well,
I like
welcome,
it. I like
welcome.
it. Thank you. I like it so much. It's so beautiful.
It's
I'm
way better over
preparing-
here. It's way better over
Yes,
here.
It's so singy.
Because I'm not
It's just so
trying.
silly.
It's not a battle. I feel like anytime I've done Wagner, I'm in a battle.
Yeah, you're
and
like,
I'm trying to win.
You're fighting.
I'm trying to beat that guy. I'm trying to beat the orchestra. I'm trying to beat all of these
Yeah.
elements that are working against me. When I sing Verdi, I go, oh, right. I'm riding on top of a wave. It's all happening with me. Like I feel
Yeah.
like everybody's
Yeah.
working in the same direction.
I think the thing that appealed to me about Wagner in the beginning was the anxiety. It sounds like anxiety. Like all of these blonde.
Wait, sounds like
It
anxiety?
sounds like anxiety. It's like very diminished chords and like, Elsa and Lohengrin was the first Wagner thing I ever did. I just covered it. I was
You're like, I like to
25.
live in terror.
And I was like, this feels really at home for me for some reason. Why do I relate to this so much? Yeah, no, it was easy to go there. It still is,
Have you done a
but-
lot? Have you done a lot of Wagner?
Well, this is I have a crazy path because I was a young artist in Houston. I couldn't get
What year was that?
2009 to 11.
I forget. I see. I feel like I'm so much older than you. But
I'm 39. You probably started younger. I'm 39. But I wasn't, I don't know. What's normal? There's no normal.
There's
right?
no. Everybody's path is way different. Like
Yeah.
when I was a kid, they had spelled out how it should go, right? And if you did college, then that should go to a summer program. If that went good, then you should go to a big young artist program. If that went good, you could go regional or go to Europe and get a fest contract. And so I just sort of followed these
Tick, tick, tick,
2-year steps,
And it
along
worked
the way.
for you because you're a bass.
It worked, yeah. It didn't work maybe in everyone else's timeline, but it worked,
Yeah.
The timeline part was the part that frustrated me because I never seemed to do anything within the timeline I was told I should. I was always just like on my own journey. I'm like,
Yeah, but that's such an invention. It's not real.
It is an invention.
And who told you that? Did they succeed in
There were
exactly
so
that
many
timeline?
times where somebody was like, "Why are you singing that?" You know how many times I heard that? Why are you
gosh.
singing that? I heard that endlessly, and you go, "Well, Thank
you. That is such helpful feedback.
Well, I mean, first of all, it make me feel like a jerk. Fine, okay.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Oh,
Why would
brother.
you sing that? Why are you singing that? Well, that's what was offered to me. And when something better is offered to me, I'll take that, and then
I'm
you can be
happy.
happy for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like until then, fuck off.
Yeah. The first time I did the Met competition was 2008.
Yeah,
And I wasn't ready. I knew nothing about my
Did you make it to
aria
New York?
package. I did.
yeah.
But in New York, I sang Hérodiade, Il est doux les bons.
No idea what that is.
That's Massenet,
Okay.
a bit obscure. It's like probably the most beautiful part of the evening. I think there's also a glorious baritone aria.
But when you sing obscure stuff, they go, "Oh, she can't sing standard rep."
Well, I didn't have any idea what it was. I just like put the things that I knew on there.
Yeah.
I think I put something on there that because I was doing a double major in German, and like there was this arts organization that found some pieces composed by women that were like in a vault under Berlin after World War II, like some weird, and I put that on there in my package. No one had ever heard of the composer or like, and it was super musically.
Yeah.
I put that on my package, took it to the Met, hey guys, do you want to hear this one that you
I'm
that
making
you
a
don't
political
want to hear?
statement.
Yeah, like it wasn't on purpose. It was just like all the arias that I knew.
They're
You
like,
know.
she's nuts. Right away,
Yes.
we knew you were nuts.
Gayletha Nichols said to me,
Go ahead.
So I sang also Porgi Amor, and she said that's more appropriate for you. And she said that you would think you could sing the Erdiad is laughable. I mean, it's laughable. She used the word laughable. I was like dumbfounded.
They were rough back then.
Ooh la la.
You can't really talk to singers like that anymore,
Well,
right?
because
Like,
it makes them sing worse. What's the point of that?
I know.
It made me sing worse.
We
It
all
set
have
me
these.
back.
We all have these times where somebody just like hit you between the eyes, and you're like, oh, okay.
For me, most of those things were about stuff I can't change, and they actually like it's consistently.
You
the
are
same.
tall.
Yeah.
I heard it too.
You are what? But it's positive.
He
for
wants
a
to
man
sing
be tall.
Escamillo. He's like 6'5". Matadors are 5 feet tall. I heard that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so unhelpful. That's so helpful. Oh my gosh, thank you. Like now I'll just go get my femur removed.
Also,
or
I've
something.
sung Escamillo everywhere.
Like
you know,
9
like,
schooling times. Yeah, funny. Yeah, like I love the physical act of singing Mimi in La Boheme.
Yeah.
I love singing her.
of
She's
course.
just
It feels right.
it feels beautiful in
Yeah.
the throat. It's like it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
good for you.
Right.
You know? But every time I do it, I'm like, I'm such a fraud. I'm so enormous. I'm so too big for this. And there's always people going like, I mean, I did.
You're not a
live
wilting
broadcast.
flower.
No, I
You're
can
like
try.
full of energy and
But
just
the thing
like,
is, like, come on, you can be strong and still die of an illness. What is that about?
for sure you can.
Whatever. But also,
Did you sing Mimi?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm doing
Where?
it again. I can't. Am I allowed? I'm not allowed to
If
say.
it's-
They
you're not
haven't
allowed to say, don't
announced
say it.
yet,
Yeah,
but
somewhere
it's
over here or
at a
over
very-
there?
Over there, but I've done it over
Oh.
here. I did it already in Dresden and Vienna.
Wow.
Where else did I do it? I did it a couple times in Dresden, and I did that beautiful Zeffirelli production, which I will
Yeah.
revisit in a different
Oh,
location.
okay
if
then.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm so excited about it because it was
Well,
weird.
there's a couple of Zeffirelli productions. They're not all the same. The one
Yeah,
in New
but I
York is
mean-
unique to New York. Yeah.
So, but the problem is being too tall. Being too tall. So they're like, La povera piccina. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
but if they give you a
I'm
giant
più
cast, you're going to be
piccina.
fine.
Where is the tenor? Okay. I defy you to find this tenor. Maybe it's an ironic
Well, I did it with
nickname.
Kalea in New York. Kalea is 6'3". He's a big
Is he
dude.
really?
Yeah, Joe's a big guy.
We were supposed to do Traviata together.
Oh,
last
God, I would have
April,
loved that. I would have loved
And
that.
he canceled. I don't know. He wasn't well. But then I had to do it with like really beautiful
Just
throats
one of
that
my
are like
one of
4.5
my
feet
best
shorter than me.
best friend, just a generous, wonderful
really?
wonderful human being.
Oh, that's nice.
Give you the shirt off his back if you needed it. I mean, wouldn't even hesitate. Just one of the most generous, sweetest guys I've ever been around.
I worked with him one time
Yeah.
when I was the only role that at that time I had ever reprised, Kate Pinkerton in Madame Butterfly. And I was
The
like,
two of you
why do
way
people,
overcast.
Why do people keep asking me for this? And I realized because I make every other woman look like really diminutive by comparison. That's why. Look how tiny that Chocho-san is compared to that like giant corn-fed American apple pie girl over there.
Well, explain that. Where are you from?
Washington State.
Washington State.
Yeah,
I've been there.
apple pie.
Apple
You've been
pie,
there.
of course.
Did you sing in Seattle or
I
something?
did, yeah. I sang with the Seattle Symphony. I sang with the Seattle Opera. One of my first jobs ever with the Seattle Symphony. I sang Bach cantatas.
Really?
Yeah.
I would love to hear
Awful.
you sing
No, it was
Bach
terrible. It
cantatas.
was absolutely terrible. Yeah.
You know, did you ever read that autobiography by Eileen Farrell?
I'm sure I didn't.
You're sure you skipped it? You skipped right on past it. Well, she is amazing. I don't know. Do you know her voice at all,
No.
Eileen Farrell?
No.
She's like a Wilder. I mean, if you listen to these recordings, it's just such a stunning instrument, but like not a great deal of like refined technique.
Yeah.
Like she had a really wobbly jaw for her vibrato and stuff. I shouldn't be saying this. I don't
Why?
know. I don't know
What do
what
you
happened.
mean?
I'm not meaning to talk down.
Look, we say the truth here. The truth
good.
is the
It's
truth.
true,
Yeah.
and it's just my opinion. But I'm also an enormous fan.
like our
of her
like our
work.
mezzo friend last night.
Goodness gracious. 6.5 minutes early. What are you doing? And I'm going the whole time we're in the scene, and I'm like, well, how do we?
But you saw me compensate. I went way over stage right. I was
I
like,
know,
Rachel's
I was
going to go
like-
left.
No, I was like, we have to do our arm thing. I have to do the bit where I suddenly see you. We've been building the whole scene toward this moment where I have the big reveal. Like
The arm
he's
bit.
not in my head.
Everything was
He's
out
real.
everything was out the window last night.
And you know what? Honestly, it didn't occur to me, but I was using this like an anchor to make myself feel secure. But
Yeah.
it's nothing to the audience that moment.
No.
Nothing to the audience. But to me, it was the whole
But it's your first
scene.
time doing it, and so I could.
Yes, I was
the
really
anchors, I
nervous.
understand.
I put way too much pressure on it. It's
Did
my
you?
debut at the Opéra Bastille.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Oh. Wait,
Actually,
you
it's
told me
cool.
that. You
A
told me
bunch
that.
of us were debuting.
Who?
Me and Angela and Insan.
Angela, she sang here before.
No.
Angela sang here before.
No.
But it was her debut at the Bastille, but she sang with the Paris Opera at the Palais Garnier.
Probably she did like Anio or something. And
I think you're right. No, or
Titus.
yeah.
Yeah, I think she. Yeah.
But this is your
anyway, at the
debut here.
Bastille. Yeah, I have sung at Théâtre Champs-Élysées a couple of times,
Yeah.
and I, but just concerts.
Yeah.
You know, where you were in and out.
Same.
And I
same.
visited Paris, of course, like a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
Because Paris.
This audience is insane. And now they were a little
so
subdued. They were
sweet.
subdued last night.
Do you think half of them left because of this?
No, you saw the crowd when we were done.
I couldn't see very well. You
Yeah.
know.
No,
Can
they were
you
up to the
see
top.
with that side lighting? Maybe I'm on my way.
No,
to
you're
becoming
kind of
like
right.
that
You're right.
myself.
It's a little bit blind. It's those side lights there, blinding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blinded by the light. Yeah.
How do you find classical music?
So
Was it in your house?
No.
No, me neither.
Rien du tout. No,
Yeah.
it was not in my house. Let's see. My parents were super musical.
Yeah.
Like my dad was always drumming on things, and like I guess he sold his
My son
collection
does
of
this all the time.
12 guitars to buy my mom's engagement ring.
12?
He had 12 guitars. He
Shoot,
sold them all.
man. Should sell one. Get a ring.
Yeah.
12. He got a big ring.
I think he ended
He
up
was
getting
really
it
into
back.
her. Or
One
maybe
of them-
she hated guitars.
No, but that's funny. When he was like later on, I mean, and they had 100 kids, and like he was a chemical
100?
engineer.
You haven't- you haven't-
Five. Two. I'm second
not
of
a
five.
lot.
Two
Five's
brothers
not-
and two sisters. How many are you?
3.
Yeah, that's pretty. This is pretty.
That's a standard.
Civilized.
I only have one child. You have how many?
3.
You have 3.
I have 3. It's 100. It is. Well, because I had all mine at the
Is there a
same
difference
time.
between 2 and 3? It's basically.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I don't know. I never had 2 because I
Right.
had twins the second time.
Oh.
So we went from 0 to 3 in 21
Twins
months.
blows my mind because, you know,
Yeah.
like the
It sounds real convenient. Like 2 arms, 2 boobs. It's going to work out.
No, but the
oh my
sleeping,
gosh.
it's the sleeping and the eating and the crying. Like everything's happening at the wrong time. It's all
yeah.
happening all the time, maybe,
And I had like a tiny toddler while I had
while that
them.
was going on.
Gosh, if I look
How old
back
is
at
everybody
time.
now?
So Lydia is 10 and twins Carl and Hannes are 8. Wow. And the sun shines right out their faces, and I love everything about them, even their annoying things.
Yeah, well, of course.
And I can't imagine the world without them. And
No,
it was
no, no,
super
you wouldn't
hard.
change a thing.
It was super, super, super hard also.
Like a lot of people who listen to this are singers, and this is a heavy thing, like balancing family and career, and it's and
Yeah.
we're not really balancing. It's way off balance. I mean, in my opinion, mine is to have this career that you're having, that I'm having. There's a humongous sacrifice with the family,
yeah.
and it's happening, and it's hard to fix it. You know what I mean? It's hard to like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm constantly in my head going, well, I need to be home more. I don't know if they need me more, but I need them more. And I'm trying to like negotiate. Okay, what can go? And then I look at my schedule, and I'm sure your schedule is exactly the same. You go, this is all platinum.
How
Which
do I-
one of
we-
these
yeah.
things needs to go?
Which one of these amazing
Right.
world-class dreamboat things
That people would kill to have.
Yeah.
Which one of these things am I going to let go? And it's impossible because we've been given this opportunity that most people will never come close to.
Yeah.
The number of singers that will not make it to being paid to sing is already a disgusting number.
Yeah.
And then to
That
actually
have a degree in it. That have 2-3 degrees in it.
that are hundreds of thousands
Some
of dollars
university
in debt. Yeah.
gave them a degree, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
will never make a penny.
Not
That's
one
true.
penny.
It's disgusting.
And so you and I are given this opportunity to not only make a living, but make it at the highest levels. And you go, okay, it's something we'll absolutely have to sacrifice. Relationship, family, home
Yeah.
life. I've missed everything. Birthdays, funerals, Christmases, everything that you can miss, you miss.
Yeah.
Miss Thanksgiving. I had Thanksgiving here with some friends. Like that's just how that goes. Like, what do you
Yeah.
do? What's your
Well,
your
you know
family
what's
lives in
funny?
Europe, which is helpful.
Well, yeah, because I think it worked out that way that I'm working more here than there, which
Yeah.
is funny because the
We all are.
prevailing notion.
We all are.
So well,
Of course.
But it's easy because they live in Copenhagen. That's a really good airport.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Good.
small, it's manageable, but you can get anywhere from there. It's
Yeah.
really surprising. You can get direct
Direct.
to LA, you can get to San Francisco.
Copenhagen to LA.
Yep. You can get a lot of places direct. It's very
How
impressive.
how packed is that plane? It's like 6 people on it.
No, I mean it's a hub, so a lot of people fly through there. They
Yeah,
might,
of course. Yeah, of course.
Excuse me.
Did
But
you
honestly,
see? Go ahead.
I gotta say
Yeah.
about this. So I got a divorce, right? And like I said, I was swimming. I was drowning in shame about it. Like
Yeah.
I failed and
Yeah.
my
You're
poor
not the only-
children.
this happens
and-
to a lot of people. You
yeah,
know, like-
I mean, but it was the only reason you do it is because the alternative is worse. Do you know what I mean?
it's better to get out than to stay. That's
the only
yeah,
reason.
right.
But in a weird way, that helps me with this difficulty of leaving the
Yeah.
children, because I had to do it anyway, and I was already like halfway there because
Yeah.
of to that point they were always with me on the road.
Right.
Always.
Oh, I see.
We were homeschooling.
Yeah.
And my daughter was 8 when she finally, like, we put her in a real school. And I hated this. I was crying. I remember 2 years ago, I dropped them off in Copenhagen to go to school. And I got in the rental car, drove myself back to the airport, and flew to Vienna. And I wept the entire time.
Oh, my
I just
God.
thought it was the first time. And
Listen
I was
to
like,
the reality, everybody. This
I
is
was
the reality.
leaving them with their dad, and like I didn't know how that was gonna go, and it was just so difficult. But honestly, the crazy thing is, like, they're so stable, and I worked ferociously hard those first 6 and 8 years of their lives to develop like the tightest possible bond.
Right.
And there's nothing that can compromise it. There's nothing
great.
anyone can say. There's nothing that can happen. There's no amount of distance
yeah.
and time.
That's great.
So I also work very hard to see them as frequently as it is possible.
Yeah.
to
No,
do.
I've watched you fly out of here a couple times already. Just like,
Yep.
I've got 2 days.
Even
I'm
one
going
day,
home. Yeah.
I'm there. I mean,
See, it's impossible when they're in the States. I
yeah,
can't go
exactly,
for 2 days. It's not
exactly.
possible.
So I don't know what I'm going to do, because next season is rural American
Yeah.
for me.
Right.
And I'm consequently going to have to miss out on some time. And I think we're going to have to build the bridge back up again when I get back to them. But
Yeah.
what I was going to say is, nobody gets a perfect life.
No.
When you have a baby,
No, you're right.
You look at that baby and you're like, I will do anything to give you a perfect life. I will prevent every pain.
Yes.
But ultimately, the weird thing is that's not desirable. Like, they actually need a bit of friction in order to
Oh,
develop.
I never got anywhere by being coddled. I never got anywhere by winning. I only learned things from losing and being in hard spaces. That's the only time I became me.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about the history of your life, you can look back probably, I mean, I don't know exactly, but in my case, and I think in most people's case, you can look back and realize that there are these like really quick but intense connections that you made with adults when you were a child that informed your personality, informed your identity.
I'm trying to think.
So for me, for example, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
My grandfather's brother, his name was Francis, and they called him, is that what they called him? I met him one time, and his wife was Geneva. So she married into the family, and I had been like, I was a difficult child, I gather.
No.
and like second of 5, and my poor parents like just kept popping him out, like boom, 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 boom.
Well, you didn't deter them.
You would have thought. I'm a cautionary tale.
Stop it.
No, I don't know, but I remember when I
You
was like
seem
about
full of
9.
life. You seem full of love, full of life. You're
Yeah, but
interested.
they were-
You want to know what everybody's doing. If somebody says something, you listen. Like I feel
I
like your
love
wheels are
people.
constantly going, like trying to like consume more of what's around you. Like you want to just drink everybody in. That's my limited perception of you. No, but I mean you're very interested in what people think, what they're doing, what's going on.
Is there anything more fascinating than that?
But you have a particular energy for it, which I think is fascinating to
That's
watch.
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I knew you'd be great at this. I was like, oh, she's
never
gonna go.
in my life run out of things to talk about. I already told
No,
you.
but
so
but
it's
you
true.
genuinely seem interested in doing that. Like it's not.
Yeah. This is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Probably. This is why I love singing.
Yeah.
Because we're doing this. We're like reaching people, and somehow they reach back, and you can feel it when they're in the room. It's such a difference singing for a real
You
room.
sing for the audience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I have to say this story really
Go
quick
ahead.
because it's so
no,
important
sorry.
to
Yeah.
me.
We derail here a lot.
I like it. I had my 7th grade English teacher used to call that bird walking, because a bird is like going around in this weird pattern, like it's never direct. We're bird walking.
All right.
I never forgot it for some reason. There's another example.
That's how hours go by here because I'm just like, what? Where are we now?
What
Okay,
were we
yeah.
saying? We were like 10 conversations deep.
There are people listening going, wait, she was talking
Wait,
about her family. What's
there were
why?
10
I'll
different-
get angry emails, by the way. Could you just
Oh no! Can you
could
please
you
answer that
interview
question?
Rachel again, but next time listen?
Yes.
I've heard that before.
Oh,
I had some
ADHD.
some person, some fan of Charlie Castronovo's. You know, Charlie's fans are like they're rabid, and
You can't blame him.
no, well, okay.
He is such a good singer. My
Yeah, well,
goodness.
but these girls are like all. He looks like
It's
the
true, he's
matinee
very
idol. It's so
charming.
annoying. Yeah,
No, you know what he
I
looks
love my
like?
Charlie.
He looks
I love
like
my Charlie.
Aladdin. He looks like Aladdin.
And he's just the sweetest guy.
In 2010, I sang First Lady in Magic Flute in Santa Fe, and he was Tamino.
What year?
But 2010.
Yeah.
He shared it with Alex Schrader. It was like Alex Schrader was like apple pie Tamino, and then Charles Kestner was like Aladdin.
Just sex.
Aladdin. It was anyway funny. Sorry.
Anyway, so I interviewed. Not interview. This is not an interview. I'm not your fan. Like, we're just two friends chatting, and so
You are my fan, Christian.
so Charlie
It's a mutual
comes
adoration
in.
society. Okay.
Truly, Charlie and I go 2.5 hours. I put it out. The next day, I get this scathing email.
Oh no.
Could you lower the temperature on your own ego and let Charlie Castronovo speak? Just like it was like just absolutely brutal in cutting me down. Like, how dare I?
Wow. That person thinks a lot of themselves.
Like the great Charlie was somehow scandalized by this inability to speak.
I'm sure he lost a lot of sleep over it.
I'm sure he never listened to it.
No, I mean, if he had the sensation of being, no, because you're so compelling. There's no.
I've worked with
it's just
Charlie so much. I
conversation.
love the guy. I absolutely love him. And so I was like, Charlie's the sweetest man. Let's put this out there. He's got great stories. He loves life. Similar to you. Like, he loves life. He loves this business. And so I thought it was
singing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going back to Aunt Geneva. This is important to me.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you. So
bird walking.
bird walking. So I went to visit my grandparents, but I was.
That's what she's saying.
Thank you, Jamie.
What? How can you make that sexual? I don't care. I don't know. I'm not cool enough. Okay.
Bird walking. It doesn't matter.
Not. I would have to think for
Bird
too
is
long.
an old euphemism for male business.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I thought that's what they called a woman, a bird.
I'm much too old for this. I'm not cool. I've never been cool, and I'm not going to start today. Go ahead.
You invented cool, Christian Van Horn. Are you kidding me?
Being cool in opera is. I'm not going to say that either. Go ahead.
Okay. So my parents exiled me. They were like, can we have a break from you, please? And they shipped me away to my grandparents on the Oregon coast.
Are you serious?
Yes, for like 3 weeks. And I was like,
Whoa. During the summer?
Yes.
And they were like,
from
we just
school.
need a break.
Just please.
I was the only one of my siblings that ever went to summer camp. So, okay, I know what you mean.
See,
I know
maybe
what you mean.
it was. Anyway, sorry. There was so much more there than I shouldn't have said any of that. My parents aren't going to listen to this, then feel bad about them. Anyway, they did.
Hey, the
they
truth
did
is the
their
truth.
best.
The truth is the
They
truth.
did their best, and
Yeah.
the truth is the truth. But so we ended up.
I don't
going
like to
there.
rewrite history to make people feel good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not accurate.
I'm not going to do
because-
that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that.
you
What
know
happened happened, and we can all deal with it.
We got to deal with it.
Yeah.
What choice do you have? You're gonna just
Someday my
rose-colored
son's going to be like,
glasses?
"Hey man, you were never around," and he's
You
going to
were
be
never
right,
around.
and he's going to
Yeah.
be right.
No, but then you need to hear this. You need to hear this. Okay, so my grandfather's brother, whom I never met before or after this event,
Yeah.
Frank, and his wife Geneva, they were there.
Francis and Geneva.
I know, cute,
Lovely.
right?
Yeah.
They were so adorable, and Geneva was like really weird. I loved it. We were by the Oregon coast on a bay. I can't remember the name of the bay, but every morning for it was literally 3 days. There's no way it was longer than 3 days. She would wake up and say, "Hey, Rachel, let's go for a walk on the beach." I can't even talk about this. I'm getting emotional.
Go ahead, yeah.
She gave me so much attention, and she was so kind to me.
She wanted to walk on the beach with you.
We walked on the beach, and she found beautiful rocks, and she said, "You know where you can put them? You can store them right in your bra." She taught me about the brocket, the universal purse. Do you know, like credit cards or like chapstick? I mean, it's true.
The
It's
brocket.
just the brocket. She taught me about it. But anyway, Geneva, it was 3 days, and she was so kind. And I just remember all of my
and she didn't know you. You were her grandniece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by marriage.
There's not a huge, strong blood relation here.
No, and I
yeah.
never saw her again after
Oh,
that. In
my
fact,
God.
it's
She's still
sort
alive?
of funny. I don't think so. And I think she went really loopy at the end because I ended up years later, decades,
Yeah.
meeting
Yeah.
accidentally.
She fell down. Her bra was
grandchildren.
full of rocks, and she just
She
fell
was
into
too
the
heavy.
ocean
All
and
them
drowned.
bra rocks, all them brocket rocks. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure she lived to a ripe old age. But
Yeah.
anyway, Geneva, I never heard about her again because it made apparently my grandmother very jealous that I spent all this time with her. Although my grandma wasn't nice.
interesting.
She wasn't she didn't seek
She
my
didn't want to
company.
do that.
She wasn't going to take me for a walk on the. Are
She
you
might have been
kidding?
jealous of her before your interaction.
Probably because she was so delightful. But the point is, this 3 day.
Her name was Geneva.
Geneva. It's
I mean,
charming.
already, yeah,
I know you
you're
love her.
winning.
She has a twinkle in her eye.
You're winning right
With
away.
the brocket. I think she had red hair. I mean, she was cool. She was a cool lady. But the point is, for all my life, I remember this 3-day interaction with
Right.
a woman who was kind to me.
Right.
If you have 1 day in 1,000 with your child,
Right.
you can make such an impact.
Yeah, you're right.
Get
right.
off your phone. Get off your phone and look at your kid.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
That's
Play
a great
with them.
point, Rachel.
Do
That's a
you
great
know
point.
how many Legos I have had to build with my son Carl? I build them Legos. Do I like it? No, I do not like it.
Come on.
Mostly because he's like super bossy about it. And if
Yeah.
you're just freestyling, he's like, no, that's wrong. No.
Oh, you got to do it according to the book.
Yes. No. He wants you to do it according to his brain. This is the problem. And I may be a lot of
Anticipate
things.
my needs,
I
Mama.
am very impressive, but I am not a mind reader. Thank you very much about the Legos. No, but the point is, like, you can make a huge impact with limited
That's a
time.
great point, and I hope that I try to be when I'm home. I'm very
I'm
very
sure
present,
you
know.
are. And so
And
I
we
got
go
that.
on little adventures, and
See?
we have special things that only he and I do, and I'll take him and just mom will stay at home, and we'll just go on our own little day adventure.
That is so
And I can
precious.
see him light up when it's time for that. And
That one-on-one time.
I hope that's it. My father was home every day. I lived in a very traditional home. My father came home at 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Every day we could count on it. Now we didn't get a ton of hours with him. When we were kids, he comes home at 7. We're in bed an hour later or hour and a half later.
Did he
And we
hang
had
out
him on the
with you at
weekend, but Saturday was like mow the lawn. Sunday was like go to church. So there was.
Yeah.
I don't
Same.
remember a ton of FaceTime with my dad, but we threw the baseball. He came to all the games. He came to the concerts
Yeah.
and stuff. And so in my head, I go, that's what my son should have. That was a good life. I had a good upbringing, so I think he should have that. And it's just not ever
Nobody
going
gets
to be
a perfect
that.
life.
Yeah.
Nobody, and that wasn't perfect either. My parents are still married. They fought like crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't have a great relationship with either of them. They were always home.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. Like
I see what you mean.
I guarantee you that someday. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
your son, but
Tell
it's
me.
possible
Tell me the good
he
things.
will. Well, this is bad.
Oh.
He might one day wake up in a surly mood and say to you like you weren't there.
Sure.
You might have to cope with that.
No,
But
no,
you
no,
know
I know
what
that's
else? You
coming.
can look yourself in the mirror and say, I did the best I could. I provided for you financially and psychologically
believe it, baby.
whenever I could.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, I just think ultimately 10% of the time, if it's quality time, you're still going to make an enormous impact. And also, get this. I was visiting a friend who was doing, it was in Lille, France, and I can't remember the show, but somebody who was like basically a compromario role, this lady, it was crazy. I was in my friend's dressing room and she just came in to say hello and sat down and started talking to me, and she just spilled the beans about her life. I can't even remember her name.
Yeah.
She was a mezzo. I don't remember her nationality, nothing. And she just happened to tell me that she was divorced when her son was 2. And she was on the road all the time to pay for his life, but also she was incredibly ambitious and wanted singing more than anything else. She was apparently okay with sacrificing her relationship to her child, and it was in a time where there wasn't FaceTime.
Right.
It wasn't as
Ugh.
possible to fly all the time. So she sacrificed her relationship with her son in order to pursue singing, and now she's old and she's singing compromario roles, and she was saying, like, I don't know that I chose wisely. But get this, now she has a home in a city where her son wanted to go to college. And she said, well, why don't you like move in with me into my house? This again, I'm getting emotional. He lives with her in his mid-20s.
No kidding.
And they're developing a relationship. They spend time together every day.
They have a whole new thing.
They have a whole new thing.
Isn't
And
that cool?
and she said, we went through that thing where he said to her, I never had a mother and all this stuff. But she loved him all that time.
Of course
She was
she
just
did.
doing her best.
Yeah.
And now in his 20s, they have a second chance,
Yeah.
so to speak. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Isn't that nice?
You never know what's going to happen with your kids.
I fought my mom like crazy when I lived in their home. My mother and I were like, we had such similar
Fisticuffs.
personalities that we were just fighting all the time.
So she was lovely, is what you're saying. She was,
She
a
was lovely.
woman.
Well, no, she was lovely, but we fought. It was difficult,
Yeah. What did you fight about?
I was strong-headed. I didn't like to be told things that didn't make sense. Like because
Get out of here with
because
that.
I said so was not good enough. I needed real reasons why I was not allowed to do something. But once I left and moved out, our relationship was fantastic.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful, wonderful relationship from the day I left until the day she died. It was nothing but a joy, and that's really the part that I remember. Like, yeah, sure, it was hard growing up. It was difficult. There were times that were very difficult, but from the time I left until 7 weeks ago, it was just a nice, joyous, good bonded relationship. And so I hope you're right, because there is some sacrifices I'm making right now. And I like the fun. I like to play with cars. I like to play video games. I like to eat hamburgers. Like all the stuff that my son's into. I'm like, yeah, like
Let's
this is
do
yeah,
it.
totally. Like, and he'll play with me I'll play the guitar and he'll play the drums. We have a blast. I miss that stuff. I think I need them more than they need me. Like, when I call home, everything seems to be going
They need
just
you
fine.
too. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, but that's the best case scenario. This is the other weird thing. I remember, like, so I had quite an ugly divorce. I'm talking about that a lot. What is wrong with me? Usually, this is like, don't talk
Get it
about
out,
that.
baby. This can be therapy.
Thank you.
Yeah, but let everybody know, because there are people who listen and think, because
It's so easy.
the glossy
They're
life
just
that we
singing.
show online. We have this glossy Instagram life that's like everything's awesome all
Are
the
you
time.
making fun of my Instagram right now? Is that what's happening?
We get there. I'm going to.
Well, good, because I want it. Well, anyway. But the thing is, when I had this ugly divorce, it's like the first year after the divorce, the kids were with me. And I remember thinking, and they were mad, obviously. They were processing the trauma of their parents getting a divorce.
Yeah.
And they were always with me. I think they saw their dad like 1 week, maybe every other month or less. And he was like, I'm so generous. I'm letting you have the kids this last year on the road, because it was the COVID year and all the schools were shut anyway.
Right,
and I
right,
was
right.
just going from gig to gig only for that gig to be canceled. But I paid all my money and schlepped the kids around to these massive Airbnbs. Like, it was terrible. And I had a nanny.
And you're paying a lot of money.
Oh, my goodness. How did I weather that storm? I'll tell you, I taught voice lessons. Thank you, Instagram, because I had students approach me from Instagram, and then I taught.
And you're just
3 a
taking
day.
money from poor kids.
Yep. Sucking it out. No, I didn't charge that much, and I help people. I feel really good about my ability.
There's
to
no
teach.
doubt. I mean, a lot of your Instagram is helping people. It seems to be like informative to
I want
young
to
singers.
give a resource that didn't
Yeah.
exist when I was a
Yeah, I mean,
kiddo.
we didn't have that. I had my teacher. That was my teacher, and other singers around me. That was the only
pool.
of information that I could draw from.
Yeah.
And,
if that
and
does- if that's not
they were
working
either going
for
to be
you-
right or wrong. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't know. There was no
Too
way
bad.
to.
That's
And
too
then you
bad.
met a singer who went to that school in Philadelphia. You're like, you didn't even have a connection to that. We didn't even know.
What are you learning
Who's your
over
teacher?
there?
What?
Yeah.
Why are you so arrogant? You know, like.
Oh my gosh, I have so many stories already.
We
But I
would-
have to go back to the thing really quick
Go.
about what was I saying? No, it was important. You're right. We get derailed. No, I'm sorry. So this is important because it's
Go ahead.
this is, for my taste,
Yeah.
the most important thing we're going to talk about today
Hit
is your
me.
relationship to your kids while you're traveling and how it can be done.
Go.
Okay, so in that first year after I got a divorce, the kids were sometimes very nasty and were like, I miss daddy. I don't know why I'm with you. Like, I miss daddy. And I remember thinking, like, someday you're going to turn around and say, I miss mommy so much. And you're going to be sorry. Like, I had this little thought. The day that came, I was like, nope, I take it back. No, that is the worst. That is the worst thing. That is the worst thing. I was like, oh my gosh, the best case scenario is like, I don't even miss you. I'm like having such a good time. That is
You're
also
right.
horrible,
No,
and I
you're
hate
right.
it. But the best case scenario is like they're happy and they're well taken care of, and,
Yeah.
and you can relax.
My son has said, because I say, Papa's going to go. I'm sorry, Papa's going to leave again.
and he's like, nah, I'm used to it.
Well, he says, yes, he says that, but he also is like, well, I like it when it's just me and Mama too. Like he's like,
And
just
that
letting me
stings.
know. No, it didn't sting. It makes me feel good that it's okay.
Yeah, it's true. It's weird.
know?
It's like both. It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
There's the immediate ego that's like, well, I mean, you could miss me a
No,
little.
I don't think I even need him to miss me. I just want to know that
Really?
he's okay.
Oh,
I
see,
just want to
you're
know.
so evolved.
No, I don't know. I miss him. I think I miss him. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we have fun when I'm there, but
Oh, you
they're,
know the
they're probably used to
phone
me being gone.
Showing you the pictures. It's like your suggested photos for the day, and I'm like, do you remember when they were little babies? And I don't, of course, remember like the diapers in that moment. I just think about like, oh, their
The
little
sweet-
faces,
yeah,
their little faces
nuzzling
shining up at me,
or
yeah.
napping on you or
Oh
something.
my
like,
gosh!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
My son is 9
it's
and a half.
So short.
And to this day, if we're in a parking lot and I put my hand down, he'll take it. And 9.5-year-olds don't really, they don't usually take hands, you know? And I'm just like, I'll always stick it out there just to see if he'll take it. And he still takes it. Oh my God, it absolutely kills me. Because I know
because
one
there's
day
gonna be
that'll
a
be the last
day.
time he does it. And I won't even know it was the last time. So each time it
Everyone's-
happens, like, oh,
Savor.
energy, life. This gives me life.
But yeah, I do that too.
Yeah.
And then I realize that like, I don't know, life is cyclical, and someday maybe you'll be old and you'll have to take his hand to walk.
Sure.
I
Hey,
mean,
absolutely. I helped
I
my
don't
mother
know.
up and down and walking. Absolutely. I had to take her
these
hand, sure.
relationships are so much more sturdy than I think we imagine.
Oh
These
God, I hope
ones.
you're right.
I really think I am. I really have to be, because otherwise I cannot
I
live.
know. I know. Let's just live in this fantasy as long as we can.
But I mean, the thing is also like how cool to be the adventure parent that gets to like take them on
Hey,
adventures.
my boy lived in
Him.
France. He lived in Rome. He lived
Yeah.
in Munich. He's going to live in London. He's seen everything. He's gone all over the world. Things my father could have never offered to me. Things my father never saw.
Yeah.
And now I can. My boy's like, oh, we're spending the summer in France again. Like I've heard him say those words.
Gross. I've had too many croissants. I'm over it.
Yeah. No, he'll never say those words. So when we're in France, we go on a bread walk. Every morning, just he and I, and we go to the bakery, and we go to the one that's like down the road that's dairy free for Papa, and so we go every morning. He's like, "Bread walk, Papa. Here we go," and we talk about trains, and we talk about life. We go, and then I make him like do the order in French.
Are they coming here for Christmas?
Yeah, they'll be here.
Oh my gosh! What days?
December 17th. They'll stay for 10 days, through we're done. Yeah.
Yeah, mine aren't out of school until the 19th, so I got to go get them, and I'm gonna bring.
They're gonna come here.
Yeah,
Oh,
and my
no.
parents are coming too.
Yeah. Your place must be a lot bigger than mine.
And I'm such a queen this time. I've never done this before. I didn't want to move. Usually I will book,
a smaller
terrible
place.
studio apartment for myself, and then if I have guests, my.
Are you in a
siblings
palace
or
right now? Is that what's
it's
going on?
It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom with like a separate laundry room and like a walk-in
In a debut
closet.
fee, baby? Come on. What's going on here?
I'm not
What's
22.
the real story?
I'm not 22. And I have Alan Green as my manager, which has a lot
I saw Alan last night.
He is a lot. Bless him. You know what, though?
I love Alan. Alan has been, I haven't made Alan a dime, and he has been nothing but sweet to me.
He loves you.
Since
He
the
loves
first
you.
day I met him, he's been nothing but sweet and generous with me, and I don't, we're not in business, and he just goes out of his way
You know
to
what?
come and
Because
see
he loves
me.
opera.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
loves
it's clear.
opera, and he knows everything about it. It's
Yeah.
like it's sad because I remember when I first because I've had a couple of managers, and when I switched to Alan, we had this 6-hour lunch. I look back and I'm like, how on earth?
That's how I know I can't work with Alan Green. I can't sit for 6 hours.
But we couldn't. I mean,
I'll give it to you.
that's what she's saying.
Thank you, Jamie.
She's like, that's what she's saying.
The story is that a couple of her girlfriends, we're all hanging out, and the joke at the time was that's what she said, right?
Because the office,
right? Yeah, and so the mother thought she was being cool, and she was going to be cool with the girls, but didn't really quite understand the joke, the sexual connotation, but also the inflection, and then so she was being like, "That's what she's saying." And Jamie said this, and yes, we were a little high, and I almost fell on the floor. And it has lived ever since, just right there.
That's what she's saying. What do the other ones do? Okay, wait.
This one's Michael Spires. You know Michael?
Yes, I listened to that one. Yeah!
That's Michael Spires. And the rest are just like intros. Just like the random.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Nice.
Like yours is somewhere, not in the bank, but I've got you in the computer here. Anyway.
I'm not in the bank.
You can be in the
I'm
bank.
going to take that really personal. I got to come up with something quippy. What's my button going to say?
You've said a lot today.
What's my button going to say? Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Probably that.
So what were we saying? Oh, so Alan, I had the 6-hour lunch, and I told him my manager.
6-hour lunch. Where in the world can you sit for 6 hours and they don't kick you out?
On the Upper West Side, somewhere
In New York, they didn't want to turn the
City.
tables 7 times in 6 hours.
I think we kept ordering things. And I was like, it was the first day of this no carb diet I was doing, and I lost a squillion pounds. All my hair fell out. It was terrible. But anyway, it was the first day, and so I remember he was like, "Have some more shrimp," and he'd be like, "Here for $15, you can get 3 shrimps on this plate." They kept bringing them.
Welcome to New
but
York.
He told me all of these cool stories, and he sat there and he quoted the entire first act of Rosencavalier to me in Lohengrin with Brandon Jovanovich in Berlin.
BJ, we love him.
He's the best. He's so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
He's so supportive. And he does this thing on stage.
Where he chews gum the whole time.
Oh, yeah. I thought it's Ricola. He's like the Ricola dealer. Ricola. He has
but he's a gum chewer, too.
Yeah. But he doesn't make awkward eye contact. He kind of squints, so it's not as uncomfortable. Because doing love scenes is real hard.
I've never had a love scene with Brandon, but I've had a lot of scenes with Brandon.
You know what?
And I don't. They were usually anger. It was always an angry
guys are
thing.
mad at each other.
And so, or I was on his side and he was angry at other people.
That makes sense.
I was often behind him while he's furious, and
he was probably furious with squinty eyes. I saw him
get pissed off one time in a rehearsal and yell at a maestro.
Yell?
Brandon.
He did not yell.
Absolutely.
What did he say?
He lost his head for 5 seconds.
I saw him treated really badly by a maestro.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he's too nice. That's the problem.
He's so nice.
There's no danger in him.
Tiny...
And they try to walk on him. And this guy, I'm not going to get into the details, but for 5 seconds, Brandon's eyes went red, and he lit into this guy, and boy,
I bet he won, though.
Fucking won. The whole tenor of the relationship was forever changed.
I hate that.
This
what
guy,
are we, baboons?
this guy cowered. Oh, he absolutely showed male dominance, and this maestro, whose name I'll never remember and never see again. But I mean, just
I wonder why he must have been real. He was real talented. That's why he had to assert himself that way.
But I mean, who yells at Brandon? Like who gives Brandon a hard
tweets?
time? Yeah,
Brandon Jovanovich. No, that's so stupid.
be so lucky to have him in every room you're ever in for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! One time I sang Rusalka in San Francisco with Brandon.
I might have been there that
Jamie
year.
Barton. And
what year was that?
2019 in the summer.
Yeah, I was there.
It was the best. Did you see it?
I was doing Orlando, and then in the fall I did Billy Budd.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you didn't come see my shows, but that's okay.
I had 100 kids. They were real small. It was a hardship at the time, and my marriage was like flailing. It was not.
I'm
good.
happy we're friends now. I didn't know you before. We did it. We decided we did a show once before, but we didn't really remember.
My first ever gig outside of the Young Artist Program was with you.
It was a B9.
Beethoven 9
with Sasha and a tenor.
Who was that tenor?
A tenor.
Cut this
Who was
out.
the maestro?
Leonard Slatkin.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was at the Hollywood Bowl.
A full Hollywood Bowl.
19,000 people.
I had to buy a jacket because you have to wear like the cream colored jacket out there. Very specific.
Oh my gosh, that's so old school. I just remember being completely glamorized by the hotel. They put us in this hotel, and I was like,
"Oh, it was nearby."
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
there are like cabanas. There are cabanas next to the pool.
Oh, I didn't go to the. I never found the pool.
And I was like eating sushi every day.
Did you see what happened last night at the Met in the Tannhäuser? Did you hear about this?
No.
So.
Oh my gosh, do the part now where you talk about opera current events. I love this part.
Well,
I love this part.
Get pissed off. There were some climate protesters at Tannhäuser last night.
No, what does Tannhäuser have against the, like?
It wasn't about Tannhäuser. It was just about.
No, I mean, but even opera production, like, okay,
it had nothing to do with it. It was the captive audience that they could scream to. These are the same assholes who glue their hands to the street or throw soup at a Rembrandt. You know, like this is the same group of people, and so. They started screaming in the middle of Wolfram's quiet aria. What's that one called? Oh, do mine hold an Abend? Yeah, this one. Yeah. This beautiful thing by Christian Gerhardt, who's one of the most beautiful voices God has ever put on word.
Art.
And so it's quiet. And these clowns drop banners that go from, they're like in the top balconies closest to the proscenium. And they drop banners that go down like 3 balconies. And they start screaming. There's not going to be opera on a dead planet. There's not going to be opera on a dead planet. You know, just like curtain comes in, everybody's getting nervous because you don't know if it's like a terrorist thing or what. It is a terrorist thing. It absolutely is. You know, and
you know what is a thriving industry that needs to be kicked because it's really thriving and doing really well?
Opera, American opera.
American opera. Like, wow.
I thought I was like,
make a difference. Why don't you?
Opera's going to die way before this planet.
Are you kidding me?
Way before this planet.
That's so outrageous. Like, this is funny. Those people are so ignorant because they're like, I know where the rich people are.
Yeah, exactly. They escort the people out.
Of course, thank
Peter
heavens.
Gelb makes an announcement.
What did he say?
Sorry.
Sorry, we didn't know that there were crazy people among you.
Show starts back up again. More assholes.
No.
Round 2. That went down last night. We need these people. Like, come on.
What? How? I mean,
I don't even know that the audience is so like wealthy the way.
They're not.
Like 100 years ago, maybe that would have had an impact.
Do we imagine that, like, I don't know. I'm so sorry. Where is my brain? What's the name of the Tesla guy that owns Twitter now?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is like sitting at the opera. I don't think so. Do you know what I mean? No. Like real money. I mean, people go there because they love it.
Yeah, and you're ruining their night out. And
and it's to go to the Met is like a significant financial investment. You got to pay for parking and dinner. By the time you get your tickets,
and you're getting home late on a school night.
You're like one large inn. It's not cheap. Those poor people.
Did
they get to rehear the Abendstern? I wonder because that's like
I don't know where they started.
Highlight.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't know.
Poor Christian Gerhardt. He's like same fee. Got to do it twice,
or maybe 3 times. Because
did they have to do it? I mean,
they had to. I think they maybe they continued on.
If I were
past
Peter
that,
Gelb, I would have been like, "Listen, y'all, we're gonna stop and start this as many times as it takes to get rid of all the rot."
Gerhardt agent is just like bombing the backstage. Like, we're gonna fix this.
We're restarting. Okay. Curtain.
I mean, have you heard a singer like that before? Do you know
I've
him?
never heard him live.
Oh, God.
It's funny you should say that because I was just listening to the O du mein holder Abendstern on Instagram.
And
I was like, wow.
It's like Fischer
sensitive.
Dieskau if I liked his voice.
I like Fischer Dieskau's voice. I like the free vibrato.
Stop. Ugh.
Yeah, I have I gotta say,
People
though,
tried to sell me on Fischer Dieskau. My teacher was so hung up on Lieder. I mean, this was his thing. And constantly with Fischer Dieskau, I was like, this sucks. This is unlistenable. I hate this man's voice.
See, I only know him as
he sounds like he's smoking while he's singing. A talented Figaro. Oh.
No. He was Conte.
He recorded Falstaff. Fuck that guy.
I think he recorded everything. This is kind of such like, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, again, you're gonna have to probably gut this out. Schneiderei and Udi.
Who's coming?
But no, I shouldn't even say.
Go ahead.
It's just another person who's prolific at recording and like with this super high larynx and like this weird. I hate it. And everyone said her marshalling is iconic in every way. You have to study the recording, and it's like super inaccurate. She's singing whatever pitches, whatever rhythms, and it's like I hate it. Her marshalling is terrible.
Don't you hate being compared to these gilded memories?
Yeah, you know what's funny?
You sing landmark roles, and so when you do it, they've got a list of everybody who ever did it. This person, and then they got to put you in that list.
You know what? I don't care if I'm compared disparagingly as long as I'm on the list.
Fair enough.
Put me on that list. Did you just mention me in the same sentence as Maria Callas? Did that just happen?
You're right.
Even if you're like, she's terrible compared to Maria Callas, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll take it. I
have the reviews that are like, well, he's no Siepi, he's no Raimi. Like, I have those for sure. And I'm like, I'm just
really
me.
rude,
I'm just going to be me.
In 2010, when I was a young artist at Santa Fe, so that's like, why am I mentioning that for the second time? I'm going there again this summer for the first time since then.
Really?
Lo, these 14 years later. So anyway, I'm going back there for the first time. But since being there as a young artist. But when I was there before, I remember someone saying, I've heard you are like a young Renee Fleming, or you're like the next Renee Fleming.
I hate that. I don't want to be the next anything. I just want to be the first me.
Exactly. That's what I said. Like a real arrogant piece of communist garbage. I was like, excuse me, I'm the first Rachel Sorensen. Thank you. But it's true. It's weird because that also, I met someone.
Don't put me on that level because I'm going to fall short of your memory of her. How many tenors got? He's the next Pavarotti.
But you know what is crazy to think about? You know what is just bonkers to think about? Pavarotti was booed sometimes.
Yeah.
People shouted boo at
everybody had
Maria
a bad
Callas.
night.
People were I'm listening to this recording of Vesperi Siciliani, Carlos Kleiber conducting, I think it's Firenze, and I don't even know the name of the tenor off the top of my head, sorry, but I was listening to this thinking, these people had no idea, like we're going to revere her like a goddess in 50 years,
right.
You know? And the conductor, Carlos Kleiber, is like rushing her through a couple places, and I'm like, who do you think you are?
Exactly.
Like he had no idea. So it's funny to think like.
So somebody's rushing us right now.
Yeah, and maybe
How
someday.
dare they?
Yeah, but if you can imagine that Pavarotti had a bad review now and again, like
look, he squawked plenty of notes. This was not flawless. This man
and
had a
it's
lot of
kind of
fear.
Nice. Oh, maybe that's the way we benefit from this like whitewashing of history. Where
I don't know if it's whitewashing, but we have a gilded memory to our recordings, and they splice in the 70s and the 80s. They splice the hell out of those things to where they make it seem like you sang with one breath. I mean, they still do it. There's recordings done now. If you're in a studio recording, they take the breath right out. You're just like seamlessly singing. You know, it's all bullshit.
No, but you can't control. Okay,
Show me a live recording. Now we got the real stuff.
Because this is on my album. They did that on my album.
My album.
And on Non Mi Dir, there is a section, and it was like...
Your album was already out? I don't know anything. I'm so sorry.
I have 2 albums out.
Well, tell us. Are they both on Sony Classical?
They are both on Sony Classical.
Wow.
I know.
I have recorded 4 Sony Classical, but I do not have a contract.
Yeah. I don't know why I got one. I'm very lucky.
I know why.
You do?
Killer. Absolute killer.
I mean, I can't tell if they care about me anymore now that I'm signed, but they gave me a
last
bouquet.
night at the party, all of a sudden there was like a 900-euro bouquet that came into the restaurant that she could bear. We couldn't even see Rachel. She was covered by these flowers. I was like, what?
And me, we talked about how I'm big, right? So like that was a lot of flowers.
It was the biggest bouquet I ever saw. And you're like, oh, Sony, you shouldn't have. So annoying.
It's a glorious bouquet, but I stole the bucket from the theater because I was like, where am I going to put these?
I need this bucket.
I'm going to bring it back maybe when they die.
So that's over in your 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment right now.
So nice.
You walk in here, you're like,
original
this is how the bass
molding.
lives.
No, it's so rustic. I'm just kidding. No, he's way closer to the theater, and this is a glorious apartment. It's really, really nice.
I have a fireplace. There's stockings.
Hung by the chimney with care.
Mm-hmm. With duct tape.
I love it. I love that you decorated. I need to decorate. Today's December 1st. Happy December 1st.
Is it really?
1st.
Oh,
yeah.
God, I got to learn some Giovanni.
Oh, I know. Doesn't it? Learning music, right? Do you remember when it was fun? It used to be kind of
It
fun.
was never fun. It was always
Really?
a long, torturous thing for me.
You know what? I'm just having fun right now.
I like to hear it the first time. I go, oh, this is going to be exciting.
Oh, I can't wait to get that in there.
And then I start to like have to hammer home like repetitions, especially in recit, all that, I've done Giovanni before, so I'm just like putting it back in, but it's about 5 minutes of rehearsal in Vienna. And so you're like, this has got to be lickety split. You can't.
Yeah.
And so, all right. I've got a month.
You can do it.
Of course I can do it. I just have to do it.
I know, same.
Yeah.
But if you can find joy in it, this is the thing. Like,
help me have joy. Show me.
you just, because you love singing.
I do.
You're so good at it.
Thank you. That's
You're
very sweet.
so good at
You've
it.
been very generous with your compliments, and I appreciate that.
I am out of principle when they are earned.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, thank you.
I'm
you.
sorry.
I
promise I'm not just kissing.
No, but
your ass.
If somebody's great, I have to tell them too. Because we're surrounded by great, right? So everybody that I
it's very
sing with is
lucky.
amazing. So when somebody really gets my attention, I have to make sure that I tell them,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Okay, well, I'll just log that away because you haven't said anything to
That's
me.
not true.
Anything, not a word.
Whatever. I said it to you on the first day. I was like, okay,
that's
badass.
True. You said, I'm worried you're going to steal the show right out from under me. Guess what? That is not happening. In case anyone wondered, Christian has way bigger
I
applause
think
than
you
me.
heard last night. It's Ben's show. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's Ben's show.
Yeah.
Home court advantage, though. But to be
Well,
fair,
but
like,
he's not
he's
French.
so good.
He's Swiss.
He's half French.
Yeah, okay.
I think he grew up half.
He
here
does
and
the
half
guttural R, and I think he gets 20% more applause for that.
I know, but I can't. I don't want to do that.
I'm not going to do it. I
I
can't do
can't
it.
sing Antonio. It's too high.
I
I
lose
got to
my
do
line.
a D. But by the way,
The
do you
D was
remember
badass
night?
last.
The D
You
was
went
like
for it.
45 minutes long. It was so long.
You just locked. You were feeling
I was
it
like,
too.
I hope your arm is tired because I'm, Christian does this thing where he has holds up the baton that indicates I'm singing the D and then does this big. And also, by the way, I'm watching you do
Yeah.
last night. I
Well,
could
I
see
wait.
you.
Well, I wait for you to start descending before I start moving my arm.
Yes, but then I was like, oh no! I every time I worry, what if I go longer than his arm can? What if our
Could it
tempo
matter?
is?
Could it matter?
It does to me because I am a weird, apparently. No,
I like that suddenly my conducting is influencing you.
it is. I'm really worried about you. I'm
Last
really
night,
oh no! What
because
if
we didn't have the production, I turned and faced the real orchestra for the conducting part, and not the fake one.
That's cool.
And so I feel like I conducted the Paris Opera Orchestra last night.
Let's be fair, you did.
You know, I don't know that they were looking at me, but they weren't not looking at me. And so
By the way, can we just talk about In Sun Kim's face?
there's a lot of joy down there.
She is the best. She
You're
is
enjoying
so
her, yeah.
happy. She's so happy. And when you do a beautiful thing, she's 100% there. When she doesn't like it, she also immediately shows you, which
Yeah, but not in the...
she doesn't want to kill you, in my opinion. Because I had an experience once where, I'm rather an anxious person, unfortunately.
Really?
Would that I weren't, but here we are, right? And then I was singing in Zurich, Lohengrin.
You said that so beautifully. Show the people how to say Zurich.
I'm that person.
Go ahead, do it.
Zurich.
Oh, fantastic.
The thing is,
music. That's music.
I love languages.
You do.
But
You're
people
often...
make fun of people who pronounce correctly, but I'm like, come on, it's respectful.
No, you do a fantastic job.
Yeah, but I'm that person. It's insufferable.
But
it
the
wins
people
me
over
way
here
fewer
understand
friends.
you and like it. It's helpful.
It's true. I can pronounce French okay,
Yeah.
it turns out. And no one's going to assume that I'm native or anything. In German, I get by. They actually think maybe I'm from...
It's your name.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I could speak German before I had that name, but whatever.
You know Heidi Stober. I mean, this was the most German name ever.
Heidi Stober.
She'd get over there and they were just like, oh my God.
She's one of us.
She's one of us.
They're not allowed to like that. Historical events mean they're not really allowed to like that. I think that's the only place. That's why so many Americans get to sing opera over there, because they don't. Like in France, if you sing something in French and you don't have any French people in the cast, you're gonna get a lot of trouble from the people.
I have mostly sung French in France, and it's kind of my nightmare.
But how dare you, right?
Well, but it doesn't matter how much work I do. The review will say, Well, it would just been a lot nicer if he had been French. And you
Imagine a French person singing as well as you just did. You're the only one on earth. It doesn't matter where you're from. And okay, let's talk about this. We have always a diction person on staff. Like someone is paid by the theater generally to teach us how to pronounce.
And they need to justify their paycheck.
Why do we not talk more about what it means? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like, I'm sorry, if I were watching a movie with a non-native English speaker and they speak lightly accented English, but they're a good actor, do I care that they didn't pronounce it the same way I do? No, it's so much more important what you're saying.
Yeah, right.
We talk about diction like it is
Well, that's what I would say. I said, do you understand what I said? And they'd say yes. I go, right. Okay.
In that case,
well, then I've
shut your mouth.
Well, I mean, like we can make it better, but don't hope that I'm going to sound, French. It's never going to happen. You'll always know that I'm a foreigner. No matter what I do, you will know I'm a foreigner.
I still hold out hope that I could convince them.
Never. Maybe you probably could.
No,
you have one of those
can't.
special gifts, but I'm certain
such a dweeb.
you will always know that I'm a foreigner. But I mostly sing French here.
But it's beautiful. Like your throat, it sounds so beautiful.
Thank you,
The sounds are beautiful. So who cares?
Thank you.
Who cares about the? Plus, you don't sing it the way you speak it. You wouldn't.
No, of course not. Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, je sais pas, en fait,
you know, you work in Italy. I never get a diction note in Italy. They're like, perfetto.
Perfetto, maestro. The thing is,
they only care about the line. If the line's gorgeous, they're like, he's Italian.
He's Italian. He's one of us. Welcome. Benvenuti.
I love to sing for the Italians. I don't love working for the Italians.
They don't pay for another.
Well,
6 or 7 years.
I have a gangster of an agent, and I get paid, but it's the work ethic that it's so hard to get around. I feel like France is right in the like Germany, it's strict, and Italy is like super loose, and so right here in France, right in the middle, we're gonna work, but not that hard. We're gonna work. Look, we're gonna work. Okay, but
it's time for a break. I have a headache.
We're gonna strike on Friday.
La grève.
You know,
Take to the streets and tell them what you want. I just became German in the middle of that accent. Sorry.
The government will suggest that perhaps they should raise the retirement age from 61 to 61 and a half, and these people burn fucking cars. They put rocks through bank windows a half a year. They're like, over our dead mother effing bodies.
See, this is crazy. I live in Denmark, right? Yeah. And I was talking to someone recently about, I didn't realize that their retirement age is quite late. It's like 67 right now.
But aren't they some of the most content people on earth, Scandinavians? Like everybody up there seems to be super happy with life.
I don't think they're happy, but I think they are content. But they're not happy. They're just okay. They're like, we're
just okay.
They like to keep, I mean, this is, look,
have
this
you
is
been to Sweden
subjective.
where everybody's just like, I don't know.
Do they seem happier in Sweden?
God, yeah.
In Denmark, everyone seems to keep their feelings between a 4 and a 6.
Okay.
If you get to a 7, they're like, okay, bring it down a notch, all right? Because if you get too happy, you're going to get sad later. And I'm like, I'd rather be sad later. Thanks. A very cool thing just happened to me. So, like, I remember I was invited to sing the 4 last songs at Buckingham Palace for Prince, now King Charles, when he turned 70. Yeah, I thought it was a joke. When they called, I was like, ha ha, okay.
So how did they find out about you? They're like, he wants to hear these pieces. She's the best.
And I don't know. I was there. No. She's the best. Like, she's the best. Whoa. No, it was a long time ago. I mean, I love singing that now. That's my second album, by the way, 4 last songs. And the Capriccio Schlussgesang.
Drop. Go ahead.
Yeah, give it a listen.
We can plug here, baby.
The cool thing is, like, anyway, it's a beautiful, and I'm really proud of the cover.
Tell me about singing at Buckingham Palace. Okay. I need to hear this
story. So we only did the last 2 of the 4 last songs. They kept saying that, the 2 last movements of the 4 last songs. I'm like, called the 2 last songs, okay? Although officially Strauss wrote one after.
Like, wait, was this a party? What was the setting?
Yeah, there was a dinner. It was like 200 invited guests.
They didn't want the full time. They were just like, cut this down. We like Morgan, like everything else. We're going to leave.
Yeah, well, we did Beim Schlafen gehen and Im Abendrot. And anyway, it was with Philharmonia Orchestra. Esa-Pekka Salonen conducted.
I'm going to work with him soon. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He was awesome. But I don't remember what else happened, if they played something else. I don't think so, because it was more to sell. So it was for Prince Charles' 70th birthday, which was, I think, even like 2 months later. But he had so many parties. I mean,
this was
King,
just. So who are the guests?
parties.
Who are the guests?
His friends. And it was
his
celebrating
pals.
his patronage of Philharmonia Orchestra.
Yeah, which was
And-
significant. I mean,
Yeah.
we're lucky to have him. He actually likes what we do.
He loves it.
Yeah.
He's a huge fan. And also, Philharmonia Orchestra is the first orchestra to do Strauss for less songs.
Oh, I see.
In
I see.
Whenever, 49.
So there's a relation there too.
Yes. And so it was a huge honor to be invited to do this
How do you
thing.
get into Buckingham Palace?
Well, it was crazy. They had all
Background
of this
check.
security, and they initially said you can't have your phone, but then they put me in this like room. The
You're in a
room
holding
was-
room for
No, I had like
employees?
a series of rooms,
Yeah.
right? And they were
Antechambers.
yes, there was like a bedroom and a bathroom and a living room and I had like an apartment,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
And
you
I had
stayed
to
there?
be in they put me in a nice hotel across the street, but on the day of the concert,
You're like, okay, this is your holding room.
yes, and they were at first they were like you can't have your phone, and then they were like it's going to be 7 hours, you can have your phone.
Okay.
But I like
Are you just filming the whole room the whole time?
you.
Like-
I was really not supposed to, but the thing
Yeah,
that
but you
was
did,
so,
right?
Yeah, of course I did. I didn't take anything. I really.
there were cameras all over that room. You couldn't take anything.
I mean, even I should have taken like a napkin or something. I don't know.
Well, you probably could have done that,
But I was.
there was
too
probably
nervous.
things they expect
But
you to
You know what
take.
was weird about it?
Go
like
ahead.
really Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Everything in the room was the same print. It was beige with this like little
Oh, okay.
navy. It was a kind of like a
Like just
like
to
a
that room.
gingham, kind
I
of.
have no idea what that is.
The carpet was beige. The very high ceilings, wallpapered with the same print as the bedspread and the pillows and the headboard of the bed. It was so weird. It was so surreal. It was all beige, incredibly beige, beige, and the same print. It was really weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
Was the Queen in residence? Was she there?
I don't think so.
No,
I
okay.
only met Charles,
Yeah.
King Charles.
How much time do you have with King Charles?
I had like 5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. And he gave a speech.
Did he say your full
Afterwards-
name?
No, he said, well, the thing is, I had sung for him one other time, right? I did Figaro, Covent Garden,
Well.
and
Well,
I-
I know he likes to go to Covent Garden. That's great.
and
Yeah.
he was late, so they held the curtain. And thank
Lovely.
heavens, because my parents were there that day, and they were also late, and they would have missed
Oh.
all of Act 2 if it had been for
they would have held
Prince
you
Charles.
that long. Okay. And they got to see the prince.
They got to see. Well, I don't know. They didn't know it was him. In fact,
They don't announce
they went
them?
to my dressing room. Well, they weren't there in an official capacity. He just came in like a dinner jacket.
Wanted to see the
Like,
show.
He looked normal.
Yeah.
He wasn't wearing.
But he's
like,
still sitting in the box. Like,
He was sitting in the box, and then he wanted to meet us. So right after the applause, we went up to the box, and I was speaking.
You're
to
in
him,
costume?
and he said, "Oh, you're Danish. Are you Danish?" And I was like, "No, sorry." But then he said he had family there, which at the time didn't occur to me. The Danish royal family is who he's talking about. So I'm like, "Oh yeah, your family's normal. This is normal." Because think about it, like now that I've watched The Crown, I
Yeah.
sort of get, oh, okay. I mean,
I
no
have
one
family from up there.
no one explained to me. There's like a protocol. You're not supposed to say you to them. You're supposed to
Whatever.
refer to
Fuck
them in the
that.
third person.
Fuck that.
I'm American. Sorry, I'm a barbarian.
no, but I'm not
So-
going to do that. But also, I'm not going to do that.
So they were going to Denmark, like on vacation or
Yeah.
something. And I spoke to Camilla afterwards, Lady Camilla, and she said, "We're going to Denmark." And I said, I wanted to say, yes, this information was just,
By
conveyed to me
His-
by His Royal Highness,
That-
His Majesty, the
that one.
Prince of Wales, or whatever you're supposed to say. And I didn't know. I was like, does he have a surname? I was like, what do I? The only form of respect that I know as an American
Charlie,
barbarian.
Charlie over there told me. He just told me.
I literally called him Charles to her. I said, yes, Charles.
I don't give a
was
shit.
Just
I
telling me
don't-
that.
I can't- I
You
could
should have
never
seen how
care.
she reacted.
Really?
She was like, "How very dare you!" Like,
No,
she, just
she was
brusqued
scandalized?
a little bit. Well, it was super inappropriate.
Because
I
why?
don't know.
Why? Because
I
it's
don't
like you know him familiarly or
Yes,
something.
and
like,
I don't know
yeah,
them.
Right.
But luckily, he.
You
didn't
should have said
remember.
what? Oh, the prince.
His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, was just telling me this. It was conveying this information to me, but I didn't. I didn't know.
When
how
you
to
only,
say it.
I would think that you were only going to have 5 seconds with these kind of people, and so what?
No, we like stood there and had a chat. It was real awkward.
nice.
Taco taco. And then Taco taco. And what else did we talk about? I remember Tony Papano was there, and he was clearly nervous as well. And
Really?
He said, they ask me, he has a voice like this. They ask me why I do the recits, why I play the recits, and it's cheaper. It's just cheaper. I conduct and do the recits.
I
it's
love
cheaper.
when the maestro plays the rest. It's so much more fun. It gives it character.
It kind of feels legitimate, like what Mozart would have
absolutely.
had happening.
Anytime I've done it, I go, "This is the best." Like it turns
you're
into
a
a character.
team.
Yeah, you're in it together.
And you're already a team with the maestro in a good best case scenario.
Yeah.
And when you have the continuo played by like someone you never interact with, it's like
I've never
not
worked with
as much
Papano, but
into-
I would imagine he's very much into like collaborating. This is the team. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a little working session one time. It was cool.
How'd it go?
Great. Yeah.
He has a lot of feedback. So
No,
much
it was helpful.
feedback.
No, he made me better quick. Like I was able
Oh.
to make him what he wanted was easy for me to accomplish very, very quickly.
I owe him a lot.
Yeah.
Because he was the first person to give me like a big job. You
Yeah.
know, it was that marriage Figaro when I met.
Do you have
Prince Will.
those fairy godmothers and fairy godfathers out there that like the people that gave you the things you weren't quite not unready for, but just nobody had before, you know?
Well, so when I met Alan, I was singing almost exclusively Strauss, Wagner, and
Yeah.
some Mozart. Mozart was the start.
Yeah.
But people were shoving me really quickly into like heavy Wagner. I think I
course.
had like 3
This is how
Siegelindas
the-
on the books, and Alan.
We always
when
need
he
to
came
push,
to that
right?
Lohengrin,
We got to push everybody. Do more, bigger.
I think also because I'm 6 feet tall and
Yeah,
blonde.
they think she's
they
built to
hear
like
it
just
before I
wail.
open my
Yeah,
mouth.
You're right. Absolutely, you're right.
But it turns out my
the
voice.
same thing with me. They're like, he's 6'5". Clearly, he's a Voton. You know, clearly.
Yeah, but that's so. There's funny. There's actually only little
Yeah.
correlation because
Yeah.
I have a round, sort of soft voice. Like I
Yeah.
think the real probable glory of my voice is the softness rather
No
than
doubt,
the,
baby. No doubt.
No, I'm not a trumpet. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not a trumpet. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I
More of a
like-
vacuum.
I like to caress. Oh yeah, no, but really, technically, do you think of it that way? Because I do too. I'm
Somebody
like,
described
suck-
me as a
suck the sound.
vacuum.
Suck the sound. Don't blow. Suck the sound. Suck it.
That's what she's saying.
That is what she's saying. She's saying that. Don't blow. Suck. But it's true. That's very good advice. And if you find your legato in that position rather than like pushing
Yeah.
through the core, like pushing air through the, it's horrible. That's
Oh.
horrible. So singing this gentle, caressing way,
Yeah.
it's just way healthier. But Alan came to the performance of Lohengrin and said, "You should be singing Verdi." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to sing Verdi.
That's
I
how he
want to
got you.
so bad."
That's how he got you.
Well, my previous manager was like, I remember saying, "Is there any way I could do, like a?" I had seen one of his singers who was like pretty Teutonic and largely singing Germanic repertoire, and I saw that she sang Leonora in Trovatore one time, and I was like, "See, what's that? I can do that.
Right,
Give me
right.
one of those." And he was like, "Well, maybe someday as a vanity project, they'll like let you do it because they're nice to you, but you have to earn your stripes, like singing this heavy
Barf.
Germanic repertoire." I sang Fidelio at age 32.
Really?
It's just a terrible decision. Yes, and it was so hard to make it even vaguely singable for me. I had so many lessons with my awesome teacher Daryl Babbage, who is at Juilliard now, but at the
Yeah.
time was like at a tiny school.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the thing is, Alan was like, "I want to hear you in Verdi," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you, please. Where do I
Yeah.
sing?"
Right.
So then
It's kind of how
immediately-
my European agent too. He was like, "You should be singing Philip all over the world." I said, "Welcome to CVH
Make
Enterprises."
it happen. Yeah. Did you? I'm sorry. So the thing is, Alan then immediately went on this crusade in the business to try to convince people to hire me for Verdi, which I am taken to understand is even difficult to this day with some people. Like someone, I mean,
We don't think of you in that group. You're right.
but listen to my album
I
and
know,
listen
but
to
we-
my voice. I sing.
But because you can sing the real, like
But why do you think of me in Germanic? It's just weird. It's just because I'm tall. You only heard me sing Freya and Reingold.
I think it's your last name.
It's my European.
There's an
legitimacy.
umlaut.
It's not. It's an Ö. It's a Dansk. It's Danish. Yeah.
Wait, it's the O/.
O/.
Yeah.
But officially, my name is Rachel Willis
From Washington.
from Washington. Does that give you like a? Like,
But you're also
Rachel
6
Willis.
feet tall.
I am 6 feet tall.
And so
Yeah.
we just assume Wagnerian. You're right. It's a funny perception idea,
It
isn't
is.
it?
But I mean, what's her name? Evelyn Hertelitius or something? She's this German woman that's tiny, tiny, tiny body. Tiny. She's
Yeah.
like a little ballerina. And she sings an Electra that will plaster you to the back
Is
wall.
that right?
Okay?
Yeah.
I don't think
Every
it's
time I go to
necessarily
Electra, I go, "What's all
correlated."
this screaming about? Everybody just calm down."
I know. It's so intense. But it's also really exciting. And then at the end, the audience is like freaking
I don't
out.
sing Strauss. I won't do it because
It's too hard to learn.
I can't
It's too
learn
hard
it.
to
I'm an idiot.
No,
I can't learn it.
It's so hard.
I don't know how to count. I'm like,
Some of it is
I
really
close the
beautiful.
score and I go, I don't know where I am
I
now.
have no idea. Bye. Ugh. It's so hard.
I'm too dumb. People give me way too much credit.
I was supposed to do Arabella. I showed up. I was not as prepared as like a week before. I had been spending months on it, pounding it into my brain.
Yeah.
Ich komme heim vom Ball, ich gehe auf mein Zimmer. I was like, okay.
Nobody's ever sung in here, by the way. Thank you for that.
Oh, really?
I love it. No, more.
Gross. Not that. The funny thing with Arabella, by the way, this show that everyone my whole career has been saying, you need to sing Arabella. You would be a glorious Arabella. So finally one came, and it was a new production. I was so excited. And then I go to learn it, and it's like, it's not tonal. It's not tonal. It's like pages of these. It has utter what is the word I'm looking for? Transposition?
Yeah.
Inflation. It's like one page has so many key changes that you never
Transposition inflation.
You never establish the key.
Oh, I see. Right.
You're
can't
already
settle
in another key.
That's why I like Verdi. I know where I am.
You know where you are. It just
Boom,
feels good. You're like, thank you for that. Oh, listen to that tonic. Hurts so good. Oh, give me a dough. Give me a me soul. Oh!
Hurts so good.
Hurts so good. But this was so complex, this music. And then all of a sudden, banal, like 10 pages on the same chord.
Right.
Like not even a progression.
Yeah.
Like we're just arpeggiating. I'm like, okay, Philip Glass. Like what? What? It's such a weird piece. And honestly, also, as I'm reading through it, I'm like, okay, this is like way more about the little sister than about Arabella. Like that's a way more compelling storyline.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
So I was like, what am I doing? And then
why am I here if I'm not the star?
I told, no, it's not. I don't mind being the secondary character, but it's just that makes the piece weird.
Yeah.
Because it's called Arabella.
Right,
So it's like you're already forcing an issue that isn't correct.
It's like Don Giovanni.
Oh, who is Don Giovanni about? Don Anna.
The ladies, of course.
Just Don Anna. Everyone else is revolving around the Don. No, it's Don Giovanni's show. He just doesn't get a good aria.
You're right.
I heard you talking about how you don't like to sing.
I can't sing it.
Do you croon? Do you sing jazz and stuff?
Yeah, but it's not loud enough. So you sort of have to
Just
lock
be
in.
quiet.
And I just can't. If I lock in, then it's too big.
I know. I heard you say it and it made me laugh so hard. I'm sorry. On the one with Jamie I was listening to this morning, you were like, before I start, they're already like, it's already too loud. It's too loud.
The maestro literally said that in the Sitzprobe, where the mandolin begins.
That is so rude.
And he looks up at him and he goes, it's already too loud.
It's already. I don't like you for this. I don't want.
No,
Whatever
he was
you
right.
Are.
He was right. It was
He was not right. He was not right, Christian. You are the resource that showed up to do it. They better figure out how to use that resource.
I think this will be my last Don Giovanni. We're going to part ways after this.
No, don't say that. I want to do it with you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sure?
Be fun.
I would like that because, like I said on the first day, and you hated me for saying it, I like tall singers. I like working with...
No, I don't hate you for saying that. I like working with tall singers too. That's literally the only reason I want to work with you. Just kidding.
You sing with Jonas all the time. You're like
do.
Jonas's soprano. That's pretty cool.
I was for a minute. I
Yeah.
think he's over it. I don't know.
He's over it.
I started talking back. I don't know. We can't. do it anymore. At first, I was very glamorous. The thing is, he and I are super good together.
Yeah.
We are really good
Oh,
together.
I'm sure your
Like,
voices together are amazing.
Yeah, I love the sound of his instrument,
Ugh.
and he's such an actor. Like he really
Oh,
gives it to you, and he cares
absolutely.
about style, and he just has very high standards. I love working with him
Yeah.
when we're doing the performing bit. That's so fun, and
Oh.
also like he's full of good stories, and he's really candid.
And when he locks in above the staff, it's face melting. It's so glorious. You know?
And he can also sing like super pianissimo in
Yeah.
the tippy top. I mean, it's.
I was
really
in a
impressive.
Traviata rehearsal, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was singing the Baron, long time ago, and
Fou du Fall, see.
yeah, right. and it's Jonas and Georgiou and Željko Lučić, and Željko.
Oh la la, that was a good cast.
Željko was not going to make it to the Sitzprobe that day, and so Jonas sang Germain, the whole
course
thing.
he did.
I mean, the whole thing. Nobody recorded. We didn't have our phones. Didn't make videos back then. Like
bet it was awesome.
It was unbelievable. Totally legit. Totally baritonal. Absolutely could have gotten away with it.
Yeah, on the recent.
Well, that's your
concert
second
series-
career, man. Like, don't
Yeah. I think he wants to conduct.
I think he's going to run an opera house, but
Oh yeah, it's true because he started doing something. He's running a
I think
festival.
he's going to run something for sure, something big. But I think
It's true, he
I was
should
like,
put all
why
those opinions
just be the
somewhere.
Verdi.
I didn't mean it like that, but I mean, did I? He has a lot of opinions.
He can fix stuff.
He's
ask
a
him.
mover and a shaker.
Fix the lighting. Fix your diction.
As long as it's not his fault. As long as it's not his fault, then we're good. We're
I'll
solid.
deal with it because I mean,
He's just so
the most
talented.
glorious singer.
And honestly,
yeah.
I owe him so much because this is crazy though. You never know as a singer what's going to get you in.
Uh-huh.
And like he was supposed to do Fledermaus, but it was televised.
Fledermaus.
Fledermaus with the Sächsische Staatskapelle in Dresden, and Franz Welser Möst was conducting. Franzl. And what happened? The soprano quit. I don't know.
You ever work with Franz in Cleveland?
I did not. No. I've
So
never even been to
let me just like
Cleveland.
give you. I want to give the people
Give
how this
the
goes.
people
So
what they
so
want.
so whatever we're doing, who knows what we're doing? Some oratorio. And about 10 minutes before rehearsal begins, in my dressing room, like frantic knocks on the door. Okay,
Oh, no.
Okay, so it's administrators,
This is what you need right before
musical
performance.
administrators. I mean, and they look. There's panic, panic, and I go, "Whoa, what's happening? What's happening?" Well, rehearsal's beginning. We need you on stage. I was like, "Oh, right."
All
I was
right.
like, "Well, 10 minutes, but you want me to go now?"
All right. Will that make you feel better?
And it was like a 2-minute walk to the stage, and they're like, "We'll escort you," And so they bring you in, and so now I'm like, 8 minutes before rehearsal, I'm like, okay, I guess
I
I'll
sense
just
a reign of terror.
I'll just
by
start
the way.
talking to people, like okay,
Yeah.
and
Shoot
so
the breeze, make connections, get into your artful place.
so I all the singers are out there, and now Franz comes out, and it's still like 5 or 4 minutes before rehearsal, and so he's standing on the podium and he's looking at the clock, which is over towards house right, and there's a clock above the door, and he's staring at the clock, and it's loose. It's like the first day. You think it's supposed to be loose, like I don't know, like we're just getting to know each other.
We're just making music.
Let's make some music, and
Let's make it good instead of
and
bad.
he's staring at this clock, and
Oh la la.
and the clock's got a seconds. It's like hours, minutes, seconds, and so yes, there's 10 seconds coming down. He's looking at it. I'm getting nervous, like a bomb's about to go off.
Oh my gosh.
And when this clock turns to 10 a.m. or whatever time we were starting, that's the second. This place was dead quiet, and he turned to begin rehearsal. I mean, this was the moment that rehearsal was to begin.
Oh my gosh.
I never, in all my years in Germany, I never experienced somebody on
Do you
the
know
clock
what makes
like
you
this.
sing so well? Like, do you know what really inspires the most, like, healthy, free larynx? Is this kind of pressure.
Later on,
it's so good for you.
I asked somebody, I was like,
gosh.
was there some kind of labor dispute where people were complaining? Like, what
is
are
the
we
story
trying
here?
to like stick to the or they're like, the fear in the administrator's eyes to make sure that we were where we needed to be.
Do you know what's crazy about this, though? People believe the story that you're telling them about yourself, right? Like, this man made a whole career then out of terrorizing people, probably because they believe it. He's like, listen, I'm important.
It
So they're like,
works.
oh wow, he's important. He must be important. No, this is true.
I agree. We should
pay
start
someone-
rehearsal on time. I agree.
Yeah,
But
like,
for everybody else around
you're
me to
not
be
gonna
panicked that I
sing.
might not be where I was going to be, and then to like stare at this clock as it turned over
Oh
into
my
the
gosh.
approach.
But you're not going to be what you could be under those conditions, in my opinion. You're
I
not
didn't.
gonna,
I didn't care either way.
was
Like,
that going to be a
whatever.
magic performance? No.
I was jumping in. This was
Oh, yeah. Not my circus, not my monkey.
well, I had learned it in 3 days. This was Haydn's Four Seasons.
Oh.
And so this was a cancellation I got called in for, and
you're like, hey, y'all, I'm doing you a favor. You're
I-
welcome.
Absolutely. I had killed myself to learn this thing, and so then when I got there, and everybody's like all super panicked about decorum, I was like, all right, this is
right.
royalty. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is
His Royal Highness.
we're in Ohio. This is Cleveland, like the armpit of America, like the worst city on earth. Sorry, Cleveland, but
I mean, that's the other thing. People, like, purportedly, that was the best orchestra in the United States.
that may very well be true, and maybe it's because.
But who's making these, like, lists and
I might
the
say okay, it might
hierarchy?
be CSO, it might be Philadelphia, it might be Boston. Like all
Wouldn't
of these
it be
are
New
possible.
York
but-
Philharmonic, you would assume, but they're different every year. They do
Yeah, I know.
auditions every year. It's not like,
Yeah.
what is that? And
I
they're
know,
not going
I
to play
know.
the same under every baton. And I mean,
The LA Phil, whatever. I don't know who's the best. Best is stupid.
Best?
It's dumb to even
no,
say
it's
that.
ridiculous. It's also among. It's
If you want to
so
know who gets paid the
subjective.
most, you got to go to Dallas. That's who gets paid the
They
most.
have
Maybe
money
that's
in Dallas. Oh la la.
when you look at the disparaging, not disparaging, but the difference between what the maestro makes in Dallas and what they make everywhere else. It's like double. It's
But to live
unbelievable.
in Dallas is probably not nearly what it costs to live in.
No, you can live for nothing in Dallas. You can have a palace in Dallas.
Live in a palatial palace.
Yeah.
Well, the last time I was in Dallas was during the COVID plague
The COVID.
to sing Mahler 4, which I don't think they usually
Really?
give to somebody like me, but I was like, yep,
See,
yes.
I don't know Mahler because I don't sing concerts, and so or
Concerts
not
are the
many.
bomb. They're so great. So
Are there
short.
other singers in that one, or is that just the
me?
soprano?
It's
Yeah,
just me
that's good
pretending to
stuff.
be a boy.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but it's not very high. But I think typically
Concert
it's a
singers
light
get
soprano.
off on Mahler, and they go on and on about Mahler, and go
Mahler is so
Mahler.
good.
Of course, it's good. But why? How come
So
he should have written an opera then? Because we don't
Why didn't he write an opera?
know him.
I listened to a 17-hour long, like, seminar about Mahler that I downloaded on Audible.
And you listen to 17 hours of that.
17 hours.
How
So
many
I know,
episodes
like,
of my
everything
show
about it.
have you listened to?
I am embarrassed to tell you. Probably like 10.
Oh, that's not embarrassing.
I don't know,
There's
because it was all within the last
250.
like 2 weeks. Because I was like, oh my gosh, where's this been all my life? These are my people. That's what when I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh.
It's
this is
definitely for the industry. Like, this is an industry.
Yeah, I don't know that you get a
podcast,
lot
yeah.
of. But I wanted to say this.
Cool.
The thing that's beautiful about it is that you're providing a resource that just doesn't exist in your absence.
I'm glad.
And that is what I'm trying to do
Yeah.
on Instagram. I wanted to talk
You
about
absolutely
warming
are.
up because I wanted to give a resource to young singers that didn't
Yeah.
exist when I was a young singer that I think I would have benefited from
Yeah.
having.
Now you have a phenomenal technique, and so I think when I see that, and there's a few other people who do this, when it's done seemingly so easy, it's hard to relate to. I think if your audience is young singers, I don't even know that you know where it should be hard. Do you know?
Yeah, it is hard. What are you talking about?
When I see your videos, and I've seen them, I've turned the volume way down on you, by the way, but no.
Oh, really?
You should look at your
unfollowed
face.
Me.
I never unfollowed anybody.
You
no.
unfollow me.
I follow you.
What do you mean? You restricted me or something? What does that mean? You turned the volume
No, you
down?
can like turn the volume down so like it doesn't pop up as much. I'm teasing you. I didn't do that.
You hate me. You hate my
not even-
face. You don't like to see my face in your feed.
But that's not true at all.
that
but
hurts my feelings. I'm going to take it really personally. This
you-
is going to
you've
inform
made
the
up a
rest
narrative.
of our
You've
relationship.
made,
This is what I do. I'm a storyteller, okay?
but you're also
No, I'm just
providing
kidding.
that resource.
No, I understand. But this is the other thing. Since I started
Because-
working with her, I show up and the PR department thinks
Oh, I
that I'm
see.
famous. And I got a Sony contract. And people
Do you think the Sony
believe-
contract came from PR?
I think it's a part of it.
Yeah.
And I think what
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair
what
thing
made
to
Maria
say.
Callas what she was? Do you think she did that in the absence of marketing? No, marketing is so powerful.
Yeah.
And I don't. If you,
It's more important for a soprano and tenor to do this, I think, than for my voice type.
well, yeah, because I have a lot of competition. But also, honestly, I don't know how exactly to do it, and I have 3 kids. I don't have time to like get a degree in marketing, so
Yeah.
I can figure out exactly how to like trick the system.
Okay. Fair.
But also, I would have gone under in COVID if it hadn't been for my Instagram
Like
following.
I invest my own money. I'm the investor of my money, and I could have somebody do it because I could say, well, I don't have the time for it, or I don't have the brain capacity for it, but then I'm paying somebody to do something that I could probably do.
Yeah, it's true. You're
And so it's a
smart.
little bit, but it feels a little bit like that because I can click on my phone and then the video goes from my phone into the interwebs. And it seemingly gets traffic and views, and people look at it, and I'll put up a video, and 15,000 people will look at it, and I go, did I need to pay somebody to do that? I don't, because I just did it,
Yeah.
and it wasn't that great a video, but it was something interesting, something that
Yeah.
struck a chord, and I just wonder if we're getting, I'm not trying to bash PR people, but I wonder if we're just getting duped into thinking we need that.
Yeah, I don't
The
know
internet
that, I
has
don't know that you
these
need
platforms
it.
have like
But
unless
it
they're
has
putting you on the
simplified
cover of
my
the New York
life.
Times 3 times a year. Okay, that's something to pay for. But for your Facebooks and your Googles, like
I don't know. People are casting from that stuff now.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, and the fact that it's free to
Yeah,
you, to
right.
the singer, it's free. And that's the thing. Every young singer needs to have an Instagram with the video of themselves singing on it. 'Cause
There's
if
a
the
lot of
casting
Instagrams
director-
without videos of people singing. You're right.
Yeah, and
I'll tell you real sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt, but
go.
Quinn and I had this little duet from Philadelphia, Boca Negra, and I put up a 3-minute video of the two of us singing, and it was like brrr,
Yeah.
with not only Boca Negras but a lot of other things. There were all of a sudden there were because in the video I'm like laying on the ground and Quinn's like holding me, so it actually looks like Don Quixote and Sancho Panza, and all of a sudden there were Don Quixote offers coming in.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I believe in the power of it.
It's so powerful.
But I'm
I don't know how
skeptical
to
of paying
wield
people
it.
to do it.
Well, don't do then.
Yeah.
But I'm not sorry. She also helps me buy gowns.
Yeah. Well, that's a different thing. That's a different
She
thing.
does
isn't it?
everything.
Yeah.
She does literally so many things. And also, by the way, when I'm panic stricken because it's a debut, she like shows up with food. Like she's my best
So
friend.
that's a different. That's
we have a
an
very special
assistant
relationship.
of sorts.
I mean, that's feels
on and
condescending.
off. A temporary assistant.
But also, we sometimes. Oh, this is horrible to admit. Sometimes I'm like, she's the only person in the world that wrote me today. Like,
What?
like
you mean like great
sometimes-
job?
No, like, are you alive? Like,
I wrote to you.
I thank you, but it's not like you write me every day. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes this is new.
We
because
text a lot.
I
Come
always
on.
had my kids with me on the road, and then I parked them in school.
Uh-huh.
And then this is like the first time in my life I had a boyfriend for a while. I had another boyfriend. Now I'm totally single.
Yeah.
And I'm on the road, and it occurred to me recently to be like very frightened that I would die in my Airbnb.
Oh, I think this all the time.
And I'm like, no one is gonna know. Like, no one is gonna find me.
Do you find that you're like highly tuned to little things that are happening in your body? I'm like, wow, that's kind of. Is that a pain in my arm? Is this how?
Cancer, defo. It's cancer.
Or somebody's cooking, and I'm like, is that toast? Am I having a stroke? Like,
Gosh. Well, the thing is, because no one knows where I am.
oh, I know.
I'm traveling all the time. What do they care?
I'm alone.
It's not like my
definitely
mom
gonna
is, like,
die on the
keeping
floor in
track.
one of these places. Like,
And then you know what will happen? Like the theater will notice that you didn't show up to rehearsal on time. They will curse your name. They are the first person to notice that you're gone, and they're like, "That jerk didn't show up to
they'll
do
be
his job."
so much more worried about putting your replacement on than finding out what happened to you.
They're like, "What is your deal?" And then so I realized though I'm not even telling my management like what my Airbnb address is. So like I won't be found until the neighbors complain of a smell. Like this is
How do you
what-
call 911 in France?
112.
Okay,
Is that true?
I don't know.
I think it's 112. 121.
I've never done it. I've no like I should know.
112. I'm pretty sure it's 112 in all.
I
of
thought I
Europe.
would just like rap on the doors of the neighbors or something if I
Hey guys, what's 911 here?
or
And
call
they're
it for me.
Mais comment je ne peux pas parler anglais?
Exactly.
Oh gosh. 411? 411?
Is that it?
Do you have information about how to call 911?
I feel like I should know at this point at
I think it's
45. I
112.
should know.
I'm not positive, but they have a bunch of them. They have like the pediatric doctor.
No, I
number.
want like
They
the
have
like the
I know.
ambulance one.
Yeah.
That one.
Although, have you ever called 911 in your life? I've
Yes.
never needed it.
Yeah.
You have?
Sure.
Oh wow, sorry. That feels like I shouldn't have suggested you had it.
No. You never called 911?
I mean, I prank called 911 when I was in 4th grade. I did to be like, "Is your refrigerator running? Well, you better catch it." And they were like, do you understand?"
Did you ever witness like a bad car accident and call 911? I've done that.
No.
Oh.
No, I live a very charmed life. Thank you.
Were you sheltered?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would say. I
yeah.
would say so. Mm.
Back in. Sorry. All good.
Technical difficulties.
We stopped for chocolate, but we're okay now.
We did, and it was delightful.
And I
start
just
to finish.
I just cut out like a good 30 seconds on religion. We were like, you know what? Let's not.
Let's not go there. This is not. I am not the person. This is not the time.
That's so good.
Pistachio.
Tartufino. I went to.
Yeah, I'm gonna have one of those. But this
I
is my
went
third. I
to-
gotta lay off. My goodness. But I have to tell you. Oh, you went to where? Sorry.
Italy. No. There's an Italy here.
Italy.
It's so stupid. Like it's the worst named place ever, but the stuff in
I'm
there is
into
so
it.
phenomenal.
You know those little, what are they called? Pan di stelle. Those like little chocolate cookies with the stars. Oh la la. That's so good.
Oh la la.
I'm a
Wait,
psychotic
I'm recording
monster.
again just in case.
Is it working?
Yeah, it's fine.
You've made it work again?
Yeah. I don't know if you want to continue what
This
you're
is the
saying.
thing. I do because
Okay.
someone asked me recently, like, is it easy for you to act? Like, how do you feel about acting? And I'm like, are you kidding? And I realized this sick thing that
Yeah.
I used to have such painful. This is like, I'm sorry. I almost don't want to say this because I'm not saying this in a self-pitying way.
Go.
I used to have such crazy self-loathing. I was so hard on myself, so judgmental.
In what way? Why?
I think because of my background and because I come from a tradition of self-loathing, like my parents clearly
You were not
have
supposed
never
to like
figured
yourself.
out how to like themselves. And so I would escape into a character because I didn't feel as judgmental of a character. And I didn't gaslight the character. I thought, this is, their reactions are logical. You got to find the logic.
This is fascinating.
And it made me, I remember multiple times in interviews, people asking me, where do you feel most at home? Because you're always on the road. And I would say on stage and mean it sincerely, like, because that was the only place I allowed myself to just breathe and be.
Be the character, whatever that was.
Escape, utterly escape into the character. It's only recently.
I think you're super authentic. Do you
Thank
not
you.
feel authentic in
I
real
am.
life?
Oh no, I am. But I also experienced a great deal of pain just being me.
Yeah.
And now I'm finally saying, wait, no, I'm okay. Nobody's perfect. It was never going to be perfect. It's okay.
Guaranteed.
Yes. So it's.
Did you
it's
grow up in
really
an environment
funny.
where everything had to at least appear perfect?
Yeah.
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 I understand.
But then it doesn't get there, and so then
It's not there.
there's-
Nobody's perfect. But
Nobody's
if it looks
but
perfect,
it's
that's
okay.
enough.
But it's also like, don't you love a lot of people who are imperfect? And if
I don't like perfect people at all. I love
there
flaws.
are no perfect.
No,
perfect people are faking it.
I like reality. I like all the characters around me and all their
Yeah.
quackiness. That's my.
Well, when you realize that there's
we live in a kind of an unfunny Muppet show. That's the opera business. All the characters are represented. We've got all these. I mean, we're all here. It's fucking madness.
the gang's all here.
The best show is backstage by far.
Do you think?
Absolutely. You put on a phenomenal show, but I wish everybody could have seen
Me screaming about
how angry you were
I
at the
was
mezzo.
so mad. I
who
wasn't even
stood
trying to
in
hide
front
it.
of you.
I hoped she heard me.
I never saw such fire in your eyes. I was like, somebody calm down, Rachel. She is.
oh, I know. I'm scary.
No, it was
This is why
amazing. No,
I'm
but
gonna
this
die
was.
alone.
But this was the amazing moment, and you're like, right. That's like the real stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was so mad at her.
I like that we were at that
She
party,
brought-
sort of ironically in the corner last night.
Were we ironic? What do you mean? I was like,
We
oh my
could
gosh, do I
observe-
get to sit next to Christian Van Horn?
Yeah, but
He's
we
such a
could-
good singer.
Yeah,
That
but
was
there's a
me.
lot of people we don't know in there. There's a lot of personalities, administrators, and all sorts of different kind of people, and we could sort of like ironically be present at some point. I like that. I like that
What?
part
I don't see how you mean.
where you're
ironic.
just like we're both witnessing something, and we're like having a little like conversation about it off to the
Oh,
side.
yeah.
See,
Yeah,
I
yeah, that
like
was
I
nice.
like that part.
Yeah, and you were talking to Liv too, and isn't she the best?
Lovely.
She and I grew up 4 hours away from each other without. We didn't know this until like three and a
Why
half
the
years
hell
into our
would you?
relationship.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she was homeschooled, so she was also sheltered. But in a
Greg
different
Henkel
way.
and I were born in the same hospital
What?
in the same year. Yeah,
That's crazy.
like you don't know these things. Yeah.
No, it's so bizarre. That must mean that you have the same personality because of astrology, right?
Oh.
Just kidding. I don't know.
Somebody sent me a meme and it said at some point a man is either going to have to accept astrology or not get laid.
Fair. It's fair.
I mean I don't believe in any hocus pocus whatsoever. Nothing supernatural in any
Really?
way, shape, or form. No, nothing.
You don't
No.
believe in like human spirituality at
No,
all?
the natural order of the world is the only thing that I'm sure of. And so when
right.
somebody comes up with astrology and I go, okay, here we go.
Here we go.
And so then I had a friend and she needed to like prove to me that it was right. And so she went to my
Did you do your chart?
She like went, but then there's like subdivisions of the chart. Mm-hmm. God damn it! If it wasn't spot on,
Exactly. I know. Same. There's an app. I, think
I was
it's
like, you know
what's it
what?
called?
I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear anymore.
Stop. You're ruining my worldview. I had a security, okay? I had a sense of the world, and I was going to keep it.
That's exactly what it was. I was like, you know what? I don't want to hear anymore.
No, you want to ruin your life? Listen to this podcast called High Strange.
High Strange,
High Strange.
okay.
It is so fascinating and horrible and about UFOs, and there's like irrefutable evidence. And now the government is like, aliens are real. And it's like, okay, whoops, nope, sorry. Let's
don't
go
get
back.
into that. Come on.
Let's go back. Oh, no, are you kidding? I'm so into that. I didn't mean to be, but
It's not real.
the government says,
Rage.
listen to High Strange because it's also really funny. And
If
not
there's something
it's not
flying around,
funny.
it's a foreign government looking at us through their fancy
I don't
weapon
know,
that we don't know
Christian.
about.
You
We
are-
send
do you really
robots
not
to
know
go look
about
at shit
this?
too.
Have you not been paying attention?
Do you know how far we are from the closest thing that could possibly get to us? It's absurd. You can't even.
Yeah, but they have technology we don't have. They're already among us. I'm one of them.
Now that I would believe. You had a joke. I,
know,
want to hear the
that's right.
joke.
Oh yeah. No. What do you get out of a broken coffee machine?
Go ahead.
Cappuccino.
What?
Cappuccino.
So my buddy Richard Kine the other day on the podcast told two jokes, but he would only tell one off air and he wouldn't tell one on air. So he told one on air and he told one off air. I'm going to tell you the one he said off air.
I heard the other one, but I don't remember
Yeah.
it. But you had told me you had
Yeah.
recycled that joke in rehearsal, so I had already heard it by the time I listened to the
Well,
podcast.
okay, but let me give you the
can't
one.
remember what
Let
it
me give you the
was.
one
Okay.
he didn't give. And so
Tell me the one you didn't give.
so this guy, he's talking to his friend. He says, "Oh my God, you'll never believe it. I'm dating twins." And the friend says, "Oh, what's that like?"
Oh,
Is it
I know
mad?"
this joke. I know this joke. Sorry, keep going. It's amazing.
What's that like? What, he's like, "Oh my God," he's like, "Well, how do you tell them apart?" And he says, "Well, Barbara wears purple nail polish and Bob is a dick."
How do you tell them about? Oh gosh. twins. I'm a twin mom.
stupid.
What is this with like twins as a sexual thing? Is this so? I guess
It wasn't sexual. It was just
people.
dating,
No, but you know what I mean.
dating
People
a man
are like,
and woman's funny. You don't expect
I know
it
it is funny,
Yeah.
but the idea, like the premise of this joke, is that it's like desirable to date two
Oh,
women
God.
at once and have them both be on board.
All
for
I
it,
need to
as
do
if
is-
women twins would be like, let's go for the same guy. It'll be fine.
All I need to do is disappoint two women, right? Like,
Yeah, by the way, oh my gosh, this is my real issue. And again, let's whatever, but polygamy, right? In the Mormon
let's
church.
go. Come on.
No, we got to cut this out. I can't. But anyway, no, it's true. I can't. I'm so never mind. Don't even start. This is for me, the sticking point beyond which I cannot. Anyway,
You don't want to talk about organized religion on a whole?
the thing that I think is that no one else can own your spirituality.
Yeah.
And it's very easy because I think there is a metaphysical world.
Yeah.
There
There's
are
something bigger than
things
you.
There that exist.
Do you think your life is predetermined?
No.
Yeah.
I think the thing that
Do you
the
feel
only
like you're
thing
being monitored?
I would have to think about that a
Is
little
there
harder.
is there like
But
a
I think
check,
the
like a
only
list?
thing we
like,
really have.
when she was 17,
No,
she had this
I
thing.
don't think so.
No. Okay.
I think you are a becoming. That
Uh-huh.
all of your experiences are leading to some version of you,
Yeah.
and that you have more power over what that is than you want.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
And that's what my guiding principle is at this point. But I think that,
But that's not spiritual. I mean, it might
Well-
be personally spiritual, but it's not outside influenced.
but the thing of
You
like
just told
you're-
me that you're fully in control.
I mean, you will be acted upon. There will be times when other people's behavior influences you,
Sure.
but I think you.
But I'm
you
talking
can
about
react
a
to it.
greater power, higher power, somebody influencing you.
See, I've had experiences that I cannot really deny, which
Yeah.
lead me to believe there is something bigger.
I
than
have
us.
stood at the Grand Canyon and felt something bigger than me.
Cesarean section. It's very small.
That's the second time I've gone back and deleted. You don't care for my jokes.
No, I look in private is one thing, but like for other people to listen
Yeah,
to, and I have
yeah.
a lot of pressure from a part of my following that is going to have expectations of my
Really?
behavior. Yes.
So you're the people who follow you have a skewed version of what you actually are. There's a persona.
Well, I think I'm much more like sort of dirty jokes and profane and more than I would probably be allowed within certain contexts. I don't know.
So,
But it's
like
a stupid defense mechanism because I'm tired of being told I'm naive all the time.
But I don't want to live in a world where I can't just be me at all times. And I've had some people sit where you are and say, oh, when I'm over here, then I have to be this way. When I'm over here, I have to be this way. Like, of course, you're different things to different people. Your high school friends are going to see you differently than your church friends, and your lover's going to see you different than your fourth grade boyfriend. Like, we're different things to different people, but I got to make sure that I'm always just me, no matter who I'm speaking to. Whether it's King Charles or the guy who helps get my bagel in the morning, I just want to make sure that. Otherwise, I feel like a fraud. And to me, there's nothing stinks worse than bullshit, fake. Anything that comes across as anything other than completely authentic is not. I don't have time for it. Like I think we're here not long enough to be like putting on some sort of
Tap
show.
dance.
Yeah, tap dance, exactly.
Yeah.
I aim here to just be me, no matter what that is, whether you like it or not. Okay, there's times I've deleted things. All right, yeah, that's probably going to get me in a little bit of trouble. I've taken stuff out. We all say and think things that we probably shouldn't do in public. That's one thing, but I would never. In COVID, a lot of these things popped up. A lot of people doing like online stuff, and I remember watching before I even had the idea. It was months and months before I did mine, and I was watching, and I'm like, I know that person, and that's not them. That's they're acting again. They're putting on a show again, and I hated it. I hated that because you were like, the real person is amazing.
Delightful.
That real person. When you're sitting in a restaurant with that person, they'll have you in stitches. This is as boring as shit. Like, where is
Too curated.
Yeah, too
Yeah.
curated, and so I wanted to be the antithesis of that.
It's complete naturalism.
And I think it's why it caught on. I have to believe it's why it caught on.
It's true. There is something really delightfully real about what you're doing.
The listeners are fiercely loyal, and according to all numbers, I grew 14% this year, which was the same amount I grew last year. And it's like,
Hey.
oh my God, it's just like this.
Oh, wow.
And that will continue. Those numbers never stop. and depending on when the next one is dropped, there's people that will come back to it. The thing about my number of listeners is that they will listen to 90% of this. Whether it's 30 minutes or 3 hours, they'll go 90%. And so there's something to that.
Yeah.
We're doing something right.
You're doing a lot of things.
Come on,
right.
baby.
But I wanted to say really quick, the first time it occurred to me, someone suggested that I get some sort of press agent, because mostly it was because there's this whole part of it. I was getting offers sometimes to do interviews, and I needed someone else to organize it, and I didn't feel I had support in that way from my manager. And so I started talking to someone who I was recommended to join, and she wanted to charge so much money to do so little. And also I
sat down at 21C. They pulled me into a pitch meeting, and I go,
Yeah.
what for?
No
what?
thanks. No
How
thanks.
much?
Yeah.
How quickly can you separate me from $50K a year? That's what the meeting was.
crazy.
Go
And
ahead.
I don't know if
go
it
ahead. That's for
works,
somebody
'cause
else.
if
That's
you-
for somebody
yeah.
else. Like,
But the thing is,
I'll
she
invest
gave me
50K.
this-
Watch what that looks like. That's going to be way
That's gonna
better.
grow a lot more than whatever you guys are gonna give me. Yeah, well, she said, I remember one day I came home. Actually, this is the story. I was singing Lohengrin. Why is this the only role that I do? I've talked about it 15 times
No,
this podcast.
it's not.
But with Klaus Florian Vogt, which
know,
is a
amazing.
really unique way of singing.
Yeah.
And it's strange. It defies everything I know about singing, because
Yeah.
there's no pressure in it at all, but it's somehow loud in the room. He sounds like a choir
It's
voice. Very
amazing.
strange.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The Germans are crazy for this man.
Yeah.
So it was, to that time, the best sung performance of my career.
I see.
I was so proud of myself. I felt like I was super in the pocket,
Yeah.
really resonant, really gentle, and really big when I had to be, all the things. I felt so good about it. And I walked out of the theater flying,
Yeah.
so proud of my performance. There were all these people at the stage door, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you were Elsa! It was amazing!" And I was like, "Vielen Dank!" I thought it was amazing. And then he came out, and what happened? These people literally shoved me bodily out of the way to get to him, like I hadn't even been in the show, and it was so depressing. And my twins were 10 months old, and it was the first time I was leaving them and it was short. The gig was a week total. So, but it was horrible. Leaving my 10-month-old baby twins for a week.
Yeah,
But I mean, also
awful.
I slept. My goodness, did I sleep?
I know those days though.
So, but I went back to my hotel room, and it was weird. I remembered that Sarah McLachlan song, "Angel."
Oh God.
About going to, yeah,
Of an angel.
yeah.
I saw Sarah McLachlan in concert 3 times.
Away
Yeah.
from here.
In college, I had a girlfriend who was very much into the Lilith Fair,
Oh, yeah.
all the
Yeah.
girl singers. So I saw a lot of that stuff.
It's good.
Oh, it's great. Oh, turn me into a
This
fan.
Dark, cold hotel room.
There you
Anyway,
go.
I recorded it and put it on Instagram. And then the woman who was supposed to help
You're
me
just
with
crying, just crying.
I mean, it wasn't.
Isn't that the puppy commercial? The one Save the Puppies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pornographically sad. Yeah, is that. Yes. So sad. So she told me no one wants this. No one wants problems. No one wants problems. I just remember her saying why would, and it was such a genuine moment for me.
I hate that. I hate that.
And she told me, you got to take that down. No one wants to see this. No one wants problems.
Everybody wants the fake life. Put up
Yeah.
the fake life. Look how great it is.
And I just noticed that all the people she was working with, I thought, well, you're really homogenizing all of this content. There's nothing unique about it.
Let's show the world the reality of this business, which is a lot of sometimes you miss your 10-month-old. Let's
Yeah,
show
that's
that.
real.
you know?
And the funny thing is, though, people who are in charge of it will tell you stuff like that. That is,
Yeah.
no one wants that. But I know now from experience, because so
Everybody wants
when
reality.
I started working with Olivia, my
Yeah.
publicist, she was like, okay, we would make a video. She'd say, okay, why don't you just talk for a minute about how you approach coloratura? And I'm like, first of all, no one cares how I approach coloratura. No one cares, but they do.
No, they do.
And at first I felt like a massive fraud. I
Yeah.
can't tell people how to do this.
I would think that I sounded boring talking about technique.
Yeah. No, but it's crazy. There was a total vacuum for it at the time.
Yeah.
And so I made this video, and I remember disclaiming 9 times,
Don't listen to me.
This is just what I do.
Yeah.
I don't know. But a lot of people found it kind of helpful, and
Yeah.
that was really inspiring.
I like that.
But she would record me. She's visiting me. We were in Munich. We were in the dressing room at the Bayerische Staatsoper. And she's like, okay, make a video about coloratura. And I was like, okay, well, here's a passage from Così fan tutte, and here's how I do it. And then she's like, okay, let's try it again, but don't do a weird voice. Don't say it in an accent that isn't your actual accent. And I was like, oh, sorry, I'm just nervous, and it vents itself in that way. Like I get this sort of grotesque form of demi-charm that, like, I don't know, either endears you to me or makes you think
The real Rachel Willis is very endearing. And the person that I met is so full of energy and
Yeah,
joy
it never
and just
stops.
like curiosity that it, but I mean it's you can be attracted to that glow. You're just like, what's going on over here? She's full of everything. Let's
The
yeah.
vapors. I've got the
Yeah,
vapors.
no, but I mean-
this is the hilarious thing. So Liv would tell me, like, okay, let's do another take, but can you please just be normal? And I'd be like, okay. So then I'd be like, okay, the way that I approach culture, like really boring. And then it was okay. It was getting a little bit of traction, but then I started going live, and she couldn't stop me. And every time I did like a weird, like I would essentially expose my antics.
Yeah.
It would get such a positive reaction. People were like, "Man, I love this weird woman. Like, she's so weird. I love it."
Absolutely.
And so eventually,
I
she
want to be
quit.
loved for who I am,
Yeah.
or hated for who I am, than
But
loved
at
for what I'm
least
not.
Seen,
Yeah.
you know, seen. Is that not? That's, by the way, why I love Comte of Man so much. My character Antonia, because she loves Hofmann because he listens to her sing.
Yeah.
He listens to her, hears her. Isn't that? It's like, it's a symbol. And her father's like, "No, shut up. It's gonna kill you."
Right.
And she's like, "No, I need to be seen and heard. I need to be
me. Right. The father is the PR, the
He's
original
the
PR agent.
talking to you about, well, it's fine for you to be yourself, but like we need to be a curated version of yourself where you don't talk about
The
your
second
rash.
somebody says that, I'm open. You got to leave right now.
Bye. Well, the thing is, I also get it because it's true. Like, don't talk about your rash. Do you know what I mean? There are boundaries.
I don't know, Rach. I don't know.
Talk about your rash, Christian. Do you have a rash? I can see it.
If-
Just kidding.
I'll tell people about me being sick in the wings. The other day.
Yeah. But you're not gonna like talk about the color of the vomit.
No,
you know what I mean?
yeah, but okay, but that's okay, but that's
also
not
a
really
curation.
authentically me either. I wouldn't do that.
Exactly.
I wouldn't do that.
So you're
otherwise,
already
but-
naturally curating a little bit. That's the point.
No, I'm being authentically me because I wouldn't tell you the color of my vomit.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's really
Yeah,
rude and
yeah,
not your style.
right.
Yeah, exactly. How did we get here? It's my fault.
No, it's fascinating because you have a very strong Instagram following, and a lot of it has to
Yeah.
do with your technique.
But I would also say I'm not like hiding who I am. I'm not.
No, that's the best. That's what
videos
I'm
are-
getting at. That's what I'm
yeah,
getting
but
at.
you
It's
turned down the
you.
volume. Aw.
No.
But also, by the way, I started doing these character diaries because I think it's really boring when singers go, "Tonight I have performance number 4 at the Wiener Staatsoper." You know, I think this is not. Who cares?
Yeah.
Give me something worth my time.
I have a hard time turning the camera on myself and saying, "Hey guys, I can't do it.
Hey, guys.
I won't do it. I won't."
Hey, let me just wait for a few more people to get on.
Yeah.
No, I know. It's so stupid.
And then they're like, "Oh, hey, Raphael, good to see you." Or say something.
I haven't seen you for a while.
Oh,
like,
buenos dias. You know, all of a sudden they're greeting people in 19
BMX
different languages.
1999. Thanks for joining again. It's really good to see you. Yeah, I know. It's so stupid. So, but the thing is, at AOL.com. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
I love you for doing this. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. It's been a
Yeah.
real pleasure.
You told me you were listening, and I was talking to you for 5 seconds, and I was like, "You need to come in here and do this. Like, you have the energy for this."
I do. Thank
Yeah,
you.
but
I'm
thank
happy
you
to
for,
have
like-
joined you. We should do it again. Like
We absolutely
this
can.
is going to be part 1 of 5 or something.
I'm not against that, to be perfectly honest with you, because
I mean, I'm joking, but am I joking?
it took us weeks to get this one done.
It's true. You're so sought after.
You're busy.
Every
You're
second.
busy too, though.
Oh my gosh. Every
Yeah.
second I was like, "Hey, Christian, should we do that?" You were like, "Oh, sorry."
I was like, "Come to my Thanksgiving." You're
I
like,
have-
"Oh,
well,
sorry."
I have 100 babies.
Oh,
We
I have
had
other
3
people in
days off.
town. Oh, I have dinner plans. Sorry. The great Rachel Willis Sørensen.
Oh, perfect.
I love you for listening. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. All right. Thank you.